Hello, 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 and welcome to the Bada Bin program. We have some fun stuff planned to talk about today. I am one of your hosts, Dave, and down there in the bottom square is Jim J. Bullock, also known
hmm
as Chris. Chris, how are you today?
Hey, how are you? It's new comic book day,
Oh,
isn't
it
it?
is, even though I have no new comics in hand because
Yeah.
I buy via mail order.
Same. It's been a while since Wednesday had that sort of meaning for me. It's bizarre,
Well,
very bizarre, especially since it was such a huge part of my life for such a long time.
uh-huh. Well, if you're trying to rekindle the old vibes, what are you waiting for? Just leave
Mm,
me alone. I'll host Bada Bin.
there
And you
you
just
go.
rush out immediately and go hit the LCS. You know,
Gotsta.
Gasta,
There's
Gasta.
a lot of variant covers are gonna be there, so I'm gonna get in on it.
Yeah, all the cover A's are gone today. They're gone in
They're
5 minutes
gone.
flat. But you
hmm
got variants a go go. Hey, yeah,
All
I
over.
completely forgot it was New Comic Book Day. We actually bumped up.
So did I. Yeah.
We were going to do Friday recording this week,
hmm
but my wife is off from work. I'm off from work, and surprisingly enough, she's requesting the pleasure of my company. So
Your presence is
yeah, and when
requested.
I said, well, babe, I kind of have to do a live stream Friday, I got the
Very
side eye, the
important.
look, and I'm like,
hmm
let me talk to Chris, see if I can bump it up to Wednesday. So
hmm
thankfully, you're a very amiable, easy to get along with guy,
I try.
and alas, here we are. So yeah,
We are here. Yeah,
and
and Friday, my wife's actually going out of town Friday. She's going skiing. So I might actually use that day as an opportunity to go into the bin.
oh, nice,
I haven't done like an actual bin dive in many a month.
wow.
So
Yeah, that's a good plan. Sorry, I'm getting super close to
yeah.
my computer here, but
No,
my
no, you're
fan is driving me
we're getting
crazy.
very
Yeah,
intimate.
hi, how
Very
are you? Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Can you see up my nostrils? Can you see my brain? I'll come around
hmm
this way. Look at that. Little reach around for the audience.
Nice.
Hello. Hi
You do
there.
ASMR
I
here,
know,
huh?
right? That was at least buy me dinner first. Yeah. So okay, cool, man. Bins on Friday. I hope you get some good finds. That'd be fantastic. You can
Yeah,
show them off next week, provided we do a show next week
for
on
sure.
the
For sure.
show.
Oh, it's holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a holiday next week, so
Well,
we'll have to be creative.
I am free on Friday. Just saying. Next week.
That probably will be
This is
too.
the worst lead into a show ever. We're like, let's talk about next week's episode. Let's talk
Yeah.
about something.
Forget about
Yeah, yeah,
today.
yeah.
You guys can
This is
go. Yeah.
completely stuff we could be discussing off air when we're done. But no, I
Right.
want to talk about it right now.
We spent that time talking about rolled up pancakes and whatnot. So
Yes. But I do want to change gears a little bit here. And this is not necessarily comic related. So please forgive me,
okay.
everybody. This is based in reality, but something that is a question, rather, that I ponder and has been kind of, geez, how would I put this politically? I don't want to say
Weighing
weighing
heavily.
heavily. Yeah, I guess that's good, but it's more like it's in my face, man. It's being jammed down my throat. You know what I mean? But
hmm
that is the whole getting prepped for Christmas holiday decoration season.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's a given now. Department stores, supermarkets, whatever. You got Christmas stuff hitting basically in July, right?
Sure. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Christmas is king. Thanksgiving,
hmm
Halloween be damned. We're going straight in with me.
Sure. hmm
But when is it appropriate? What is the proper etiquette for decor?
What's the
There we
window?
go, for decorating your own
hmm
home, because I was gonna take my free time this afternoon and start unburying some of my decorations for next week.
Sure.
Yet, as I drive around town and I'm looking around, we already got some
hmm
full on homes,
Oh yeah.
feeling the spirit of Saint Nick.
Sure.
So
Sure.
now I'm asking you, my friend,
hmm
when is the right time for Christmas decorations?
I think it's kind of like a rules for me, not for thee sort of thing. Because
Ah.
I love it when people do it early,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like doing it early myself.
Okay.
Um, like right now, after we finished our recording last week, I ran up to our storage unit and I grabbed our Christmas tree. And I put that up. It's not decorated yet,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of just like falling because it's been in a box for, you know, 10, 11 months at this point.
Interesting.
So, you let the branches fall and then you spread them out and then we'll, hit it with the garland and the ornaments. So it's been there for what 4 or 5 days at this
Wow.
point. Haven't done anything outside yet. We bought some fun little like neon gimmicks. I guess neon is like the trend of the year.
Really? I was completely
Yeah, like
unaware.
if you go to like a Target or a Home Depot or a Lowe's, so much of what they have out right now is this neon. It's not real
Hmm.
neon. It's like LED neon alike, but it looks really cool and like they're kind of animated. So like we have a Santa who and like the light goes like this and then it goes like that. It's like so it's like he's waving. You
Ah,
put him in the
yes,
window.
yes.
Looks pretty neat.
Okay.
So we bought a bunch of stuff, but we haven't put it up yet. I figure we'll probably just like you probably put it up next
Hmm.
week. We'll have Thanksgiving. We probably have 15, 16 people over the house. So when they come over, everything will be decked out and ready. But I love seeing it early. I love it when we got some nuts in the neighborhood who the day after Halloween, they already they had their house decked out for Halloween like
Right.
insane. Like there's a whole block here that has every house has a smoke
Mm.
machine. So like when you're driving down this street, it's smoke
Wow.
everywhere. It's sick. And they put up these fake gates at the end of the
Uh-huh.
blocks. So it's like you're actually going into this
Huh.
experience. But November 1st, gone, Christmas. And it's just I love it. I love
Wow.
it. And I feel like real life has like been weird since COVID,
Sure.
where what is the Judy Garland version of "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" always chokes me up because it's like what is it? Someday soon we'll all be together if the fates allow. Until then, we'll muddle through somehow. And like the muddling through is such a huge part of getting to
Hmm.
Christmas. And I feel like life has been a lot of muddling for a lot of people lately, to where when just the slightest spark of Christmas is visible, we just go nuts with it and we embrace it and we try to lose ourselves in it. And I think that's why we always growing up it's like, oh, Christmas starts earlier every
Hmm.
year. Now it kind of does, and we're not mad at it.
We all need it.
We're just like, yeah, it's like, ooh, okay, yeah. Hey, we got a. Oh, I think it's your brother, Masshole Shep. The boys are back in
Yes, we
town.
are.
We are
Yes.
indeed. Guess who's back in town today?
He's interrupting
Um,
your Christmas sentiment, Chris. You
it's
shouldn't even
true.
acknowledge
It's
him.
okay. I have to
No,
acknowledge. I
no.
have.
But anyway, as you were before my brother rudely
Yes.
interrupted. The
It's true.
Yeah, he's a younger
Um,
brother, so he's annoying.
oh, that's kind of their gimmick,
Uh-huh.
isn't it? He ripped the cover off one of your comics,
He
if I
cut it. He
remember.
sliced it.
He cut it.
It
That's
was
right. That's
Legends.
right.
I think it was Legends number 3, and I hit him in the face, and his nose exploded like a tomato. And my mom
Boom.
was so pissed off, man. Don't you love how we're keeping with the holiday spirit, the
It's
Christmas
true. That's
theme?
what you do at
I
Christmas, right?
I
Brothers
just
fight.
punched him in the face as hard as I could. I was like, "How dare you!"
You wanted the red on the
Hey, you
wall.
know what?
Yeah.
Actually, I need to interrupt you because I am
Sure.
amazed by something.
Uh-huh.
I use an artificial tree as well, right? But
Uh-huh.
dude, like you're talking, it's almost like magical. You're like, yes, I unbox my tree and I give it 3 or 4 days for it to settle, for it to
Sure.
uncompress. While mine is in there like a can of spam. So I could pull it out, stick it up, and 1,000 years from now, it's still gonna be in the same position. Nothing will fall or kind of settle. It's
You got to force it down.
exactly you have to with mine. Mine's like a cheapo depot Walmart tree. And if you want that thing to like look like a tree, you're putting your work into it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It takes effort.
Hmm.
So
Is it pre-lit?
this one is, yes, my white one. I'm a
Okay.
big fan of the white tree.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. I remember when we had the ones that weren't pre-lit,
Hmm.
and that was like it's like one year like the lights will be all spread out. The next year they'll like all be at the
Yeah.
top. It's like you gotta figure out how to like govern that and make it work. Um, so I'm happy to have a pre-lit
Well,
one or a
I
pre-lit one.
add even more lights for what it's
Oh,
worth.
very nice. Very nice.
So just saying, the pre-lit,
Mm,
whatever they gave me wasn't enough.
okay.
I needed more.
So multicolor or white?
I prefer multicolor.
Me too. My wife, it took her a while to come around to it,
Hmm.
but it's like I mean, we were 80s kids, It's like if I could throw up wood paneling all over the house for Christmas,
Oh,
I would do
sure,
it.
hell yeah.
You know,
Right.
just that feel.
Hmm.
Childhood, I think for both of us was we could have asked for more out of our childhoods, but there's still those special warm feelings.
Hmm.
Those the like a like a musty knitted wool blanket, like draped over like a checker couch or something with the wood paneling and a multicolored Christmas tree. That's our childhood right there.
Well,
Took my wife a little bit to come
yeah.
around. She liked the white lights, but now we have one that changes.
Okay,
So it's
yeah,
like you
that's
hit it once
smart.
and it's white, you hit it again, it's color,
Yeah.
and then you do the whole
That's
gimmick.
great. I mean, when I grew up, my mother influenced a lot of my opinions on, what was gaudy, what was, considered
Sure.
acceptable with trees. And I
Hmm.
remember a white tree was out. Do not do that,
Okay.
Dave. Like, she was also big on like tinsel,
You're talking about white as in like not a green
a
tree, a
white,
white tree.
straight up white tree.
Yeah, not white lights, but a
Right.
white
And I don't
tree.
do
Yeah.
tinsel anymore, but when I was a kid, she was like, your dispersal or whatever, your application of tinsel has to be just right
Yeah.
because if you do
Of
clumps,
course. Oh, you're
ghetto.
done. Hmm.
Terrible. So, yeah, dude, I just avoid it now. Same thing. I don't really care for too much garland, but anyway,
Hmm.
um, I guess the reason why I brought it up was
Sure.
it wasn't until my mid 20s I
Hmm.
saw this. I went to a woman's house and she had a white tree, and I mean, this thing was. It looked like it was professionally set up. She had like
Gotcha.
purple ornaments, all matched everything else,
Nice.
and it was great. But me, I still like that kind of old timey
Hmm.
ornaments that don't necessarily match but have sentimental value.
Of course. Of
Um,
course. You add a few every
yeah,
year.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Hmm.
my tree is a mix of things I like, what I think might be classy, and just the
Sure.
obscene.
Yeah. Traditional
It's a
and
family
kitsch.
tree. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Of
got to have
course.
that. I
Of
don't want it to be
course.
too polished, which is something my wife
Yeah.
was very interested in when I did bring up the white tree before we did it. She's like, "Oh
Hmm.
yes, everything." She was like, "Oh, black ornaments. We're gonna use black."
I mean that's striking. It's
It's
striking.
lovely, yes, but I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
for Christmas though, black ornaments, and we have some. But for
Yeah.
me, it's got to be, yeah, my son made this in third grade. Look, it's falling apart. It looks like a demon from the
Hmm.
sixth ring of hell. Stick it on the tree.
Do
It's
it.
okay. It's
Do
a
it.
piece of styrofoam he
Yeah.
made. I don't know. You know?
We at the house we just left, we had that was a one-story house with like 12-foot
Mm-hmm.
ceilings. So we had my tree, which was like the family tree, the gaudy one. And then we had two tall, thin trees next to the fireplace. And those were the wife's trees. So it was like it had like the wooden beads around it, the wooden rustic ornaments on it, the white lights. It looked
Mm-hmm.
fantastic, but it wasn't as comfortable as mine.
It's clinical.
Mine felt, yeah, yeah. I mean, it looked like something that would be in a
Yeah.
magazine, where mine just looks like something that would be in your basement. You
Yeah.
know,
You could grade her tree. It could be hermetically sealed. It's a
yeah, you gotta
9.6
seal it
out
in
of
the.
10 CGC tree. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, there's no folds in the no folds in the
No, yours
branches.
is the Al
No
Milgram
creases.
variant.
It's below the Milgram
Yes,
line.
of that tree. Now, I'm bringing all this up anyway just because when is it socially acceptable to do so? It seems like we've put our finger on that week of Thanksgiving
The Thanksgiving corridor,
is
yeah.
totally like the societal norm for doing so. So I would like to reach out to the audience and see what they have to think
Mhm.
because, you mentioned earlier the better for you because everybody, it's the end of the year. Everybody needs a little joy in
Yeah.
their
We
lives.
made
Right,
it. Yeah,
exactly. And
we
I
made
get
it.
that. I understand that. But one thing we can all agree upon, no matter when
Mhm.
you do start setting up your decorations, is after. After Christmas,
Oh,
right? There's
oh,
judgment.
don't leave them up.
Don't leave them up
Hmm.
for too long. That's
Hmm.
when everybody, no matter who you are, says tacky,
Oh
terrible.
yeah.
It is the
Hmm.
end of February. We just had Valentine's
Yep.
Day, and your house is still decorated for Christmas.
Oh
Shame,
yeah.
shame, shame on you.
Oh, dude, when I was working crazy hours in the mid 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'd be home long enough to like we talked about macaroni and cheese
Yeah,
last week. I would make some generic macaroni and cheese and I'd fall asleep. That was like my
sure.
life. I'd go to work, macaroni and cheese, sleep. It was like mid-April and my tree was still up. And it was like and it wasn't a huge tree. It was an apartment. It was in an apartment. It was like small. It had to fit,
Mm-hmm.
and but just like the thought every day it felt like more of a like Everest to
Yeah.
climb. And I remember when I finally put it away, dust
Wow.
everywhere.
You filthy, filthy man.
Oh, it was disgusting. And this was not a pre-lit tree, so it's like I had to like re-spool it. I'm like re-spooling the lights around like a newspaper,
Yeah.
like a rolled up newspaper. And I remember like hitting the tree and it was like poof, dust. It was
That's a little
disgusting.
seasoning for your mac and cheese.
There you go.
A
There
little
you
tree
go.
dander. Additional
All
flavoring.
natural.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Wow.
But yeah, but the outdoor lights, because like you'll see back when I was driving for the windshield company.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like in March driving to some neighborhoods and like three of the houses would have like the icicle lights hanging down still,
Oh,
and it's like, come on, you're killing me.
yeah. For me, the end date, the expiration
Mhm,
date is New Year's. So New Year's
mhm.
Day, you're probably home from work or whatever. That's when it's
Yeah.
okay. Take everything down. Enough's enough. Whatever. Now I forget the name of the holiday. I want to say it's like the Day of Kings or something.
Oh, Little Christmas, January
There we
6th.
go. That's when my
Yeah.
wife was like, "No,
That's yeah, mine
you got
too.
to leave everything up until
Hmm.
that day. It's a Mexican thing. Stick
Yeah,
with
that's the
it."
day where the wise men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it got a stay of execution. My
That's what we did
decorations,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there we are. So
Hmm.
if anybody else has a difference of opinion or
Yeah,
anything they want to add, feel free to contact us, badabinshow@gmail.com. And since we're
for
both
sure.
big Christmas guys,
Hmm.
maybe we should do some kind of like, I don't know, not like bracketology or something,
Hmm.
but like maybe some like top 5 lists of Christmas stuff, like Christmas songs.
Sure. Songs,
Yeah, we narrow
movies.
it down to the
Yeah.
best of the best. And when people turn on the Bada Bin show, they
Hmm.
know
Yeah.
that is the best Christmas song, that is best Christmas movie of all time, as
Done deal.
deemed by our illustrious hosts.
Yeah. I'm like every year I get like this and it would be ruining Christmas, but it was like I get this like wild hair to do the Christmas on Infinite Earths thing
Mm-hmm.
where like all year I just talk about Christmas stuff. It's like it would ruin it, but I think it would be fun for the time.
Yeah, right on. Well, you ready to move on to some comics related stuff? We've
Sure,
only been
sure.
on air now for about 20 minutes and haven't brought up comics much more than, your wife's
True.
graded Christmas tree.
That's right.
So
That's
I
right.
would actually like to do a little follow up to our conversation from last week where
Cool.
I had mentioned Titan Comics has the Savage Sword of Conan property now, right? License for
Yes.
Conan and everything. And I think they really just hit the nail on the head as far as the format. Nostalgia is
Hmm.
always king. But the most recent issue, Jason Aaron, who is a fine Conan writer,
Hmm.
is writing it, and it's a lot. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's quite the script he's got going on, and it's separated into parts and different acts. And I thought it was very reminiscent of Ravishing Roy Thomas,
Hmm.
the comics legend, the absolute. I mean, his resume is insane,
Oh yeah.
and the man has a haircut that makes not only women scream and squeal, much like teenage girls in the '60s watching the Beatles, but he
Yeah.
sticks with it no matter what.
He's yeah. He commits to the
He
bit.
he definitely commits to the bit. And I kid, I joke, right? Because it's an easy thing to kind of pick on the guy for the little Dutch boy haircut, you know. But listen,
Flip over to the video, dude.
oh okay. I was gonna say
Oh
he's
boy.
up there right now on our screen. There's 4 pictures of Roy Thomas up there right now. But still, I'll tell you what, bang for your buck, right? You're getting a full
Oh
meal with the
yeah.
Roy Thomas script to the point where
Oh yeah.
sometimes it can actually be a detriment, right?
It's daunting.
That we used
Hmm.
that term last week. Exactly.
Yeah.
Daunting was completely correct.
Oh yeah.
So, I guess this is going to be the episode of me just posing questions to you. But in many ways, you wonder, okay, you got a script that is going to take you a long time to read. You just mentioned
Hmm.
is daunting. Would you rather
Yeah.
have that, or would you rather have something that's more snack sized, digestible, still impactful? So I'm not just
Sure.
saying okay
Sure.
with
Not like a decompressed part four of
Yeah,
six,
yeah,
vapid.
or
Yeah,
not just some kind of like throwaway book that you're gonna forget five
yeah,
minutes later. But would you
sure.
rather the writer was much more, I don't know, tactful as far as the usage of words? He was not going John Byrne with the balloons.
Yeah, not Dickens esque.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
bit heavier leaning on the artist. So would
Hmm.
you? I don't know what do you think is less more, less is more necessarily a good thing, or would you rather have Roy Thomas chewing your ear off?
I mean, as a fake ass writer
Mm,
myself, even if what I write is just writing about what other people do, even in speaking, brevity is a skill I don't have clearly.
okay.
So I respect that and I envy that. I envy the ability to be
Mm-hmm.
concise and tell a story or make a point using like an economy of words, not going nuts. Um, that said, there is something very special about a Roy Thomas script. I never glommed onto Conan, you know
Right.
that, but Roy Thomas for me was a purposeful blind spot when I started dipping into DC because it was intimidating. Um, Here we have a guy who's reintroducing Golden Age concepts in the early 80s and doing so in this insane way where he's using bits of real life history, he's using bits of comic book history, he's using these characters, he's like reframing these characters, and then had to go through the crisis and make that work. Where these characters didn't necessarily exist anymore or didn't exist in the same way. So he had to replace them, but he had to also make it work. Um, I would always say because I've reviewed a handful of All Star Squadron books, and my reviews back in the day would take about 2 or 3 hours to write. If it was All Star Day, we're talking 6 to 8 hours just to try to get into the gestalt of what's going on in those books because there's a lot of real world history, and he was able to blend it in this almost seamless way where you almost, we talk about things like suspension of disbelief in comics. You could actually suspend your disbelief and believe that this stuff actually happened
Mm-hmm.
historically.
Yeah.
Where, like, this is before the internet, this is before research was almost too easy. So I would always say, like, I would love to see Roy Thomas's writing room during the All Star Squadron. Like, how many atlases did he have open? How many history books did he have open? How many like encyclopedias did he have open to confirm dates
Yeah.
and where people were on a certain time and all the war stuff, and making the whole Spear of Destiny thing. It's like I don't even know if he was responsible for the Spear of Destiny. I think that might have been Levitt's, but he did play with it, and there is definitely something about that.
Yeah.
That said, it's scary to read those books because they're not passive. And we talked about this off the air when we were discussing this topic, and I think you nailed it on the head. You said it really depends on your frame of mind at the
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Are you interested in something a bit fluffier? Are you interested in just like something really cheesy like Youngblood? I mean, or are you ready for that meal? Are you ready for a Jason Aaron Conan or a Roy Thomas All Star or Conan? It, yeah, it's hard to come up with like a succinct
Right.
answer.
It's any kind of any form of entertainment, right? It all
Sure,
varies. It's whatever your
of
mood is
course.
at the time. It's like I used to say back when I used to drink many moons ago. But sometimes there's value in watching a crummy, let's say Jason Bay Transformers movie on a Sunday afternoon when you're
Mhm.
hungover and you can't reach the remote. It's
Sure.
yeah, comfort food. It's easy.
Yeah, mindless. It's
There you
passive.
go.
It's you don't have to be tuned in too
It doesn't
much.
deserve any
Yeah.
awards. Isn't something
Hmm.
particularly special. But then there are other
Sure.
times where you want to see something impactful and
Oh yeah.
weighty and
I mean, you just did a rewatch of The
oh
Sopranos,
man, yes.
right?
Oh
And there's nuance there. There's subtlety. There's things that are mentioned and don't pay off for months, it's you got to pay
You see how
attention.
excited I got when you brought that up? Oh my lord.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of the greatest things put to paper and put to
It's
screen
just
for
amazing to
sure.
me how a show that's, over 20 years old still holds up
Oh
to
yeah,
this day.
people are still chasing
It's
it.
insane. It's
Yeah.
just an amazing show. And I followed
Oh
Boardwalk
yeah.
Empire
Okay.
immediately after
The
that.
Buscemi thing, right?
Yes, correct. Steve Buscemi,
Yeah.
which is also an excellent show. And it wasn't David Chase, but
Mhm.
a lot of the people that worked for David Chase went on to work on that show.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, this will be comic adjacent
Cool.
material, something that you're not interested in, but The
Mhm.
Penguin on HBO
Okay.
Max,
Mhm.
which is based off the Batman movie, to which I did not care for one iota.
Which one?
The most recent one, the Matt Reeves,
The Twilight
yes, the
one?
guy from Twilight was in it.
Okay. What was the story of that? A friend of my wife's was saying that they really liked the story of that, and they wanted to know if it was adapted from a comic, and I couldn't answer. I didn't know.
This is a great question because, okay,
Hmm.
Paul Dano, who is an actor I just cannot stand because he's always the same character in
Don't know who he
every
is.
single movie. He plays the Riddler.
Okay.
But just to kind of jump into that comic adaptation thing,
Sure.
they dive deeper into it within the Penguin because it does have a lot of similarities to something you are extremely familiar with, No Man's
Hmm.
Land.
Okay.
Because at the end of the Batman movie, spoiler alert, he floods the city, creating a
Hmm.
form of a cataclysm, albeit not an earthquake. And
Gotcha.
certain parts of the city are now uninhabitable
Underwater.
and completely
Hmm.
disregarded by the upper class
Okay.
citizens. So that leads into the Penguin, where the Penguin is this kind of he's more of your everyman character. Like his he doesn't have dreams of grandeur more
Hmm.
than initially more than being someone that has the respect of the people in his
Okay.
community.
So not like a power broker or anything like
No,
that.
he
Okay.
it's actually a wonderful show. It's really
Hmm.
really good. But the reason why I brought it up primarily
Hmm.
was because there's a lot of actors from Boardwalk Empire in the Penguin.
Okay.
So when people spoke about the Penguin when it first came out, they said Big Sopranos vibes. They were right. But
Okay.
casting wise, huge Boardwalk Empire
Boardwalk.
influence. So all within
Interesting.
the HBO vein, yes.
Hmm.
Now
Very
to get
cool.
back to wordy comic books,
Yeah.
before we went on our little hiatus for Bada Bin, something I
Hmm.
mentioned that I was going to read and I was interested in, and this also ties into your Roy Thomas and his atlases and historical
Sure.
facts, and that was this book right here, The Kents.
I remember you getting that.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
got it here in trade form, and it's not
That
correct.
Ostrander?
Yes, this is John
Okay.
Ostrander, and it's Tim Truman. Tim Truman. He's
Hmm.
listed as Timothy. I didn't want to insult the man. Timothy
Mm.
Truman, who is
Okay.
he did some Jonah Hex stuff.
Hawk World,
Yeah,
right?
but he did Hex when Hex was Vertigo. He's known for his
Gotcha.
kind of Western
Western.
style. But
Gotcha.
this is, dude, a very wordy book and a lot of historical references.
Cool.
So work was put into this story. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it is
Yeah.
entertaining, but
Hmm.
work is also required of the reader. Uh, your
Okay.
time, your dedication, and you totally have to
Your
be.
attention, huh?
Yes, you have to be in the mood for
Yeah.
something like this. You know what I
Sure.
mean? This is not just
That's a
you
meal.
can't
Yep.
just pick it up. Oh, let me just see what's going on with the Kents in this issue. No, no, no. You're investing in
Gotcha.
this. You know,
Hmm.
same as you would be investing in the current issue of Savage Sword of Conan, or how
Hmm.
you would be investing, as you mentioned, in All Star Squadron, which would take you
Yep.
6 hours to write a synopsis on. You know what I
Sure.
mean? So, yeah, you have to be in the right headspace before you dive into material
Definitely.
like this.
Hmm. It's a big
In
investment.
much
Yeah.
respect to the creators that we mentioned, and if you think we're
Hmm.
making fun of them or whatever, yes, but you know what? We're laughing.
We're having fun. We're not making
Thank
fun.
you.
There you
Exactly.
go.
We're having fun with them because much respect to
Oh, definitely.
putting that effort in to give the consumer,
Because, like,
that much entertainment out of something that they paid very
right?
little for.
And I mean, to go back to All Star
Mm.
Squadron, the internet wasn't around. Who's going to fact check it?
Okay, true.
But you could.
Yeah, yeah.
because everything fit.
Right.
You know, we again, suspension of disbelief. We believe men can fly.
Uh-huh.
Does it really matter if Winston Churchill was here instead of there? Well, to Roy Thomas it did,
Right.
and he made sure that it worked.
Yeah.
And definitely huge respect to him
Hmm.
for that and other things. Sure,
And of course,
amazing stuff.
much respect for him committing to a style,
Yeah,
sticking with it, and no matter
Warholian.
yeah,
Yeah.
no matter who says what, he's just like, I don't give a damn. He's like, this is what I
Hmm.
go out with every day.
This is
This is
me.
me. And
Hmm.
you just mentioned he looks. This is off air, a little bit like Chevy
Yeah.
Chase,
Yeah, one of those pictures looks a little
and
Chevy-ish.
I would have to argue that Chevy Chase looks like him. Looks like Roy
There you
Thomas.
go.
So there was the inspiration behind all of that,
And Chevy Chase's uncle, must remind everybody, was Zany Bob Haney.
Ah, yes, great. That's a good connection.
Yeah.
Excellent connection.
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Biggity bam, biggity boom.
Yep.
Good one, Chris. I like that. I like that
Hmm.
a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, so there we go. We have basically answered the question. Less is more, depending on what you are in the mood for. You know what I
But
mean?
of course, we want to know what everybody
Mm-hmm.
watching thinks.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think people who are watching this are probably of a similar vintage to
Mm-hmm.
us and have, I don't want to say suffered through because that's too extreme, but we've gone through decompression in comics. We've gone through the sort of evoking a cinematic feel where everything feels like it's a little bit less heavy. And I mean, there's a place for it. There's a place for it. I remember when decompression was introduced, it was like, wow, this is something.
Right.
It was before it became something that was leaned on so heavily. It was like the first, what was it? The like Amazing Fantasy 15 told Spider-Man's origin in 8 pages. Bendis told it in 8 issues,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
worked. It worked. It was breezy as hell, but it was so different, and it felt
Yeah.
special.
Well, the other thing too would be the contributions of the artist. I mean, when you
Sure.
have something that verbal, that wordy,
Oh yeah.
that in depth, and if the art
Hmm.
is really substandard, if it falls below the Milgram line, you're in some deep trouble, Mister.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Yeah.
road to hoe.
Yeah.
But even then, like when I was just talking about the Kents, for example, I'm not a big Tim Truman fan per se, but
Hmm.
it's acceptable. It's
Sure.
not burning up the charts here as far as great art. But yeah, and then there's the other thing too, right? Speaking of artists, wherein depending on what mood you're in, you might be like, yeah, early '90s Image.
Oh yeah. There's a
There's a
place for
place
it.
for it. The story is freaking
Uh-huh.
garbage. It's terrible.
There's hardly a
It's
story.
hardly a story, but I just want to see
Yeah.
some. Was it Liefield, man?
Lee Field,
Liefield. This was
man.
I can't
Yeah.
say Liefield. I gotta go Liefield, man. That's what you need in
No,
your life. So yeah.
no, over the weekend I actually reread Youngblood #1
Mm.
because I was just in the mood for that sort of thing,
Okay.
and it's something. I mean, it's a like you'd never tell people it's high literature or even low literature, but you can almost feel the excitement that surrounds it
Mm-hmm.
when you read it, and the energy and the love and passion that Liefeld had or has for comics. It's very special. It's silly and it's weird, and it has all those things that the top 40 listicles will list about what's wrong with the early Image and Liefeld
Yeah.
himself. They're all present. I mean, they're fighting a guy named Qassam Hussein. No, Hassan. Was it Hassam Sudain or something like
Yeah.
that?
Nice little play on words.
Who? Yeah, yeah. Hardly,
Mm.
hardly. And it's silly, but there's something about it for sure.
He was like, "Hey,
And sometimes you're in the mood
hey,
for it.
Big Two, double freedom rockets to you, my
Freedom Rock,
freedom
man.
rock man."
Turn it up.
Yeah, yeah. So he was just like, "I'm doing my own thing," and as you mentioned, there's a
Hmm.
place for it. But
Sure,
Roy
sure.
Thomas was sitting somewhere like, "Are you serious? He's getting how
No,
much for this? How many copies of this did he sell?" Meanwhile, freaking Roy is sitting in the Library of effing Congress,
Yeah.
doing research.
He's in the
Yeah,
stacks.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And he's just like, this guy just showed up and was like, what was it? Hadam Hussein or whatever.
Kasam, what's it?
Kasam, whatever,
Kasam
yeah.
Sudain, yeah, it's something
Thanks, Lee
silly.
Field, man.
Lee Field,
Yeah,
man, $5
yeah.
release day.
I have a few reads here I'd like your opinion
Sure,
on, if you don't
let's
mind.
do it. I'd love to do
Because
it.
these were stories I wasn't overly familiar with, but
Hmm.
I picked up trades on them. And
Okay,
I've actually had these sitting on my shelf for a while, a couple of them. Actually, I'll do those first
cool.
because the creative team sold this to me.
Hmm.
Because God, Lord Almighty, Chris, how many alternate universe takes does one really need?
Oh, well, the old Chris would say
Yeah,
zero,
all right.
but the new Chris is trying to be a little bit more open.
Okay, there we go. So I had picked these up on the super cheap. I mentioned
Hmm.
incredible creative team.
Okay, the Earth ones. Yeah, that's Jeff
Jeff
Johns, right?
Johns,
Yeah,
Gary Frank,
Gary Frank. Hmm.
Earth One, Batman. And I'm going to tell you, man,
Yeah.
I truly enjoyed these.
Okay.
I had a really good experience with these books. I love
Hmm.
Gary Frank.
Sure,
I know
sure.
you've got some mixed opinions on his version of Superman.
Yeah, a very liney
Okay.
face, but I mean, he's wonderfully talented. I loved him on Hulk.
Oh yeah, dude.
On Hulk,
Oh man,
he was an epiphany on
dude,
Hulk.
for
Just
real.
loved him.
And
Yeah, and there's still a lot to. I mean, Doomsday Clock, loved him on
hmm
that. Phenomenal,
yeah.
phenomenal.
And when he works with Jeff Johns, they are
Magic.
tour de force, wonderful
Hmm.
team. So if you can actually stop and say, I will in fact stomach another alternate universe, multiversal,
Hmm.
your favorite word,
Oh
tale,
yeah.
I would totally recommend the Earth One Batman stories. Did you care for these at
Hmm.
all? What did you think? What was your opinion?
I read. I only they put a freebie out of like the first chapter
Mm-hmm.
of the first one,
Okay.
and I remember not hating it. I remember liking it because those came out right around the time of the New 52, and like people were trying to question whether or not like it was part of the New 52 multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is. I think it's just its own thing. It's like because I think what a lot of people forget around the time of the New 52 is the invasion into bookstores.
Sure.
Like Marvel and DC were pushing, like they did like Marvel did like those year zero or zero something like that, like X-Men season zero or something like that.
Okay.
They did like a whole line of books just to like introduce the characters to the bookstores. And then DC did the Earth ones. Because there was this one, there was a Straczynski Superman, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
There was a Morrison Wonder Woman.
Yeah, with Yannick
And
Paquette.
there was, yes, Yannick Paquette. And then there was Jeff Lemire did Teen Titans. There might be more,
Mm-hmm.
but those are the ones I can remember. Um, but I remember reading the first chapter that came out as a freebie and liking it. Just haven't gone out to buy them, and they're dirt cheap
Yeah.
everywhere. Like I've seen them for under $5 hardcover at used bookstores and record stores. So just a matter of actually picking them
Yeah.
up.
I recommend them, mostly and primarily because I really enjoy stories that harken back to my own childhood.
Hmm.
Basically, like the Alan Grant, Norm Brayfogle tech years, where Batman's fallible. Like he's
Perfect. Not the
not the
god.
god, not the every answer
Yeah.
has to be I'm Batman. Everything's taken care of, everything's handled. I
Yeah.
have blasters, nipples, which
Hmm.
happened in All Star Batman.
Oh, the
Um,
Miller Lee.
that was no, it was what's his name? The dude doing Absolute Batman now.
Oh, Snyder.
Snyder, thank you,
The post
and
rebirth
John
stuff.
Romita Jr.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he was in trouble, and
Ooh,
his chest plates popped up, and I think it blasted sound, and I'm like, hey, all right, Sonic nipples,
there you go.
and gadgets with Batman are fantastic. I get it, I understand it,
Hmm.
but to me, it's just such a cop out that everything for
Yeah.
him is I get a plan for everything. The inevitable. I know everything.
Well, it's the hot lava game, you know? It's like, oop, titanium boots. Okay.
Yeah. Well, here, in these stories, he's still getting his foothold on, vigilantism
Gotcha.
and becoming who he is. He's still a young crime fighter, and a lot of mistakes are made.
Are there pearls in Crime Alley?
Actually, I believe there are in this one. Um,
Of course. Was he bit by the spider in that one?
yeah. He was bit by a radioactive bat. Harvey Bullock is a very interesting take on him here, which yet again I'm not going to go out of my way to spoil because I want you
Sure.
definitely to check this out in further detail, as
Gotcha.
I am also recommending it for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, pearls. We found pearls.
Gotcha.
There's only one little panel of the pearls,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's in there. Let me see if I can show it off. Let me see.
I
You
see
see
them.
him?
I see them.
I'm
They are scattering.
I am terrible with holding things up to the camera, dude. And I have a
They are
here's a
scattering.
little spoiler alert. I have a little unboxing planned for later, so it's probably going to be disastrous.
Dicey.
Very dicey with me doing my whole full screen thing here. But yeah, no, there's some cool takes. Killer Croc is in here. The Riddler is also a villain
Okay.
in here. Good stuff. So yeah.
I'm actually shocked that Johns didn't have a run on Batman.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like Bendis never having a run on Amazing Spider-Man. It's insane.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The recent news I had heard online is, and I have mixed feelings on this. Mostly, honestly, and I hate to say it, but mostly towards the negative. But rumor
Gotcha.
has it that Dan Slott is coming over to do some Superman material at DC, and they're not sure. The rumor mill isn't sure yet if it's going to be Superman Superstars.
Probably.
If he's going to do some action or if he's just going to take Superman over outright when Williamson is done. You know? Because Dan Slott, and I feel like I say this about a lot of writers where they're like a 50-50 proposition for me.
Yeah.
I was going to say something terrible about the man. I don't know if you guys saw my gears turning. Where I'm like, should I bring this up? No, you know what? If you have nothing good to say, maybe I'll just stick with that old adage, I suppose.
There you
But
go.
anyway, yeah, he's written some good material. He's written some just dog
course.
crap, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. You know, the jury's out. How's that sound?
I
Perfect.
like it. That's politically
Thank
correct.
you. We're doing a lot of that today. All right, well, here's a run. Jeff Johns, we're sticking with a theme here, but also
Okay.
in conjunction with one of your favorite human beings that you have ever met live in person, to which there is a story about that we have never shared on air, that we keep promising.
Is it up and away?
Dude, hello. Hello, baby. And everybody wants the chili dog story from Kurt Busiek from you. And you know what? That we've mentioned, that is the carrot being dangled.
Forever.
One of these days is bound to happen. It's going to happen. So you better be here for it. Don't miss a show. Do not miss an episode.
We're only going to say it once.
Smash that subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss the Kurt Busiek chili dog story someday. But alas, yes, up and away. This is all the 1 year later stuff
Yeah.
from the single issues, and I have a bunch of the single issues, but I got this yet again, dirt cheap.
Easy. Yeah, because that went through Superman and Action, so it's easier to have it in collected.
It's not a very thick book. It's one of those.
Is that only half of it, or is that all?
This
of
is
it?
all of it. This is the whole thing.
I thought it was 12 parts.
It might be all just compressed in here.
I
It's
wonder.
been I haven't read it for about a month or so. So, yeah. But anyway, this is Pete Woods is the artist on some of it, as is Renato Guedes,
Guedes.
Thank you for the pronunciation. Pete Woods, I think, is awesome.
Wonderful.
I love Pete
Wonderful.
Woods. Guy is just super duper talented, and I believe he's digital now exclusively. I could have swore I
Okay.
saw something. So correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody in the know that he in fact lives in an RV? Yeah,
Really?
he does all of his art
Okay.
electronically,
neat.
digitally on the road.
He uses electronic mail.
Yeah, right. You've got Pete Woods. I could be wrong though. This is just my brain sparking. Like, Dave, you remember this? This is random knowledge.
You might be conflating.
Yeah,
them.
I might have this completely wrong. But anyway, I have opinions on this story. But since you were so giddy the moment that you found out what it was going to be, what do you got cooking on Up and Away?
Way too long.
Oh, okay.
Way too long. A good story, but way too long. And there's a bit about that story, if I'm remembering it right, where like they had Superman facing off against 4 late 90s villains. Like Livewire's there. Boy, I don't remember all the one from God, what the hell's his name? The guy with like the big gun who showed up like in the John Byrne stuff right after Crisis.
Yes. Yep.
All these characters that I think Silver Banshee might have been there. All these characters that took Superman to the limit, like in multi-chapter stories, and they were all taken out in one
Yeah.
page.
There's Bloodsport there. But it's
Bloodsport.
just like a
That's the
new
one.
version of him in this. So yeah.
Okay, but it's like everybody got taken out in like one page.
Mhm.
It's like real like crapping on the past. And I mean that was kind of in vogue in the mid 2000s, like where, like, could you imagine someone trying to like do a Venom story? Then it's like, oh no, he's a joke.
Hmm.
Venom's a joke. That's 90s crap. Or like Carnage. Like Carnage got taken out in like one panel in New Avengers #1 because, oh, 90s character
Yeah.
garbage. You know, I got that feeling from that. It's like, oh, these 90s characters or these post-crisis characters, they showed them very little respect, taken out so quickly and easily.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand that. I think with this story primarily being, Lex Luthor as being the main
I don't know
villain.
that one.
Yeah.
Ooh. Why did my you know what device? Did you hear that? She responded to me.
I heard.
So Lex
Yeah.
is in the system, man. Lex is Skynet.
Yeah, LexCorp.
There you
Yeah.
go. I lost my train of thought. That was so alarming for me. I was completely, but with
Lex is
yes,
listening.
but to make Lex
Oh, Oh,
yes, we'll just call him Luthor.
there we go.
Yeah, but him being the main villain in this, establishing him, with Superman being gone, he had the opportunity to do so many different things. Yet,
And he was like in that big crystal body thing, right?
yes, correct. And his
Okay.
whole thing was just still, yet again, these most basic petty supervillain aspirations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Superman actually brings it up. He's like, "I've been away for a year. You could have done this, that, this, and that." And it's like, I
And you chose to put together this
Yeah.
machine, this
made
yeah.
out of kryptonite that he was going to,
Yeah.
I don't know, destroy the world or whatever the crap. So that's what I mean. I thought it was okay.
He paid $1 billion for kryptonite to go rob a
Yeah,
bank.
pretty much. Yeah, exactly. And it was an okay story. A couple. Now, Guedes, did I say his name right this time? Guedes?
It's either Guedes or Geddes. I
Guedes?
don't know.
Okay. GIF. I saw a funny meme about that, which is weird, but maybe I can talk about that later. But anyway, Pete Woods, of course, is the star of this show.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
And so, despite Renato being a good artist,
Mhm.
when you stand into that lineup next to Pete Woods, I'm like, there, he's guilty.
Kills it.
He's the one officer. That's the one who stole my heart with his beautiful line work.
Mhm.
That would be Pete Woods. So yeah,
Definitely.
But yet again, if it's something that you find, a couple bucks,
Sure, why
you
not?
really can't go wrong
Yeah.
with something like this as far as
No.
story. Now, I'm glad, okay, that I was not reading this at the time it was coming out.
Okay.
And I think you know what I mean, where you have the benefit now in the future that when you have something in trade form, you can appreciate it more as a complete story.
Of course.
While at the time, if you were buying the individual issues, you would have been like, man,
Get
get
on with it.
on with it. What are we getting to
Yeah.
here? There's so much to be said about a slow burn.
And that's a great point.
Yeah,
For
but
sure.
you still need some more breadcrumbs in there to keep me interested, especially if you're going to, kind of keep me hanging on. Ooh. So there you go, So,
And that's because I covered that on Crisis on Infinite Earths ages
Mm-hmm.
ago, and I did it an issue a day. So I don't remember if it was 8 parts or 12 parts, but it's like that's 8 days or 12 days. It's a lot of time, which is probably why it felt like it took so long.
yeah, let me look here real quick.
But reading it in one gulp or one sit, I could see that flowing a lot better.
I want to say it's 12 too, because if you've noticed, like the most current trades always try to collect like 5 issues, so it's only like 100.
They're now 5 instead of 6.
Yeah, it's only like 120 pages or whatever. Bear with me. I have you full screen, so no one sees me
No one sees you flickering.
flickering through the book. It doesn't give me like a cover gallery in this edition, so I'm not seeing like the blurb on the header saying Part 12.
Let's see here. I'm on the Wikipedia
Mm-hmm.
here. It is how many chapters here? 4. It's 8.
Okay,
8
8.
chapters.
All right.
Yeah.
And you learn that Superman just really wants a good pretzel. Also, a
Yeah,
very
with
important part of the
mustard
story.
on it, which is
Yes,
disgusting.
you
Ugh.
know, I haven't had a pretzel like a store bought Auntie
Hmm.
Annie's pretzel or anything like
Oh,
that
Wetzel's.
in a
Yeah,
long time. But there's nothing wrong with mustard on a pretzel, my friend.
I don't let mustard in my house,
Well, there
so
you go. You're just mustard
yeah.
bias. Period.
Hmm. I'm anti-mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I have a friend who's just anti ranch, and
Me too. I'm there too.
well,
Yeah.
see, I can't like. Okay, I can. I shouldn't say I can't, but I much prefer if I
Hmm.
go for fast food. I always ask for a little packet of ranch because I prefer to dip my
Hmm.
fries in it. Because back in the '90s, it was cool. It's like, hey man, what are you doing? That's not ketchup. Haha, no, it's
Hmm.
ranch, fool.
That's white, not red.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
this? Are you European? What is going on here? A Royale with cheese. So yeah, so like it was like a different thing, but I just got accustomed to it. And my kid loves it, my wife loves it, so we all
Hmm.
use ranch as a dipping preference
Hmm.
over than the old stand by the tomato.
Yeah. Ranch isn't allowed in the house
What's
either.
going
Yeah.
on with you,
Like,
man? Your palate
yeah.
is terrible.
What do you call a truck full of ranch and mustard going off a cliff? A good
Delicious.
start. A good start.
I'd be down at the bottom of that cliff, like, come on, hit me in the face. Coat me in your deliciousness.
Hmm.
Condiments.
Slather me.
Slather me condiments. Yeah.
But I like dipping in ketchup, but the the idea of ketchup grosses me out.
How's that? Like the manufacturing process, or?
No, just like because it's not salty, it's not sweet, it's just this
Uh huh.
glob. Like anything that I eat with ketchup is basically just a ketchup conduit because I could like the idea of ketchup in and of itself grosses me
Mm-hmm.
out.
Do tell.
Like when I make meatloaf, I don't put ketchup in it. I put actual tomato sauce in it because the thought of having ketchup in there makes me sick. But I'll dip it in ketchup. It's this weird, I don't know, it's this weird dissonance of ketchup. Me and the wife have been watching. You ever watch 600 Pound Life?
Good God, no. Why are you watching
Okay,
that to begin with? What's the appeal of watching an obese person be in
there is
pain?
no appeal. There is no
Okay,
appeal.
well, continue, please.
But we were watching one last night where this woman ordered. She was on like her rascal scooter, doing going through a drive-through at McDonald's or at a fast food restaurant, and ordered like all these chicken nuggets and fries. Got home, she's eating the fries, dipping them in ketchup, and when she's done, she runs her finger through the ketchup and like puts it in her mouth. And it made me. There's a lot of gross stuff on those shows, but that might have been the grossest. Just running her finger through the ketchup and deep throating it. I just
All
can't.
right, well, I
You
think
know.
as far as the most egregious actions or crimes against
Mm.
a healthy lifestyle, sticking your finger in ketchup would be lesser. But
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
no,
hey
no,
man, if you
for
hate
sure.
ketchup,
But
you
it's
hate
just.
ketchup. That's where we're at.
But I love ketchup. I love
The
ketchup. Just not.
process.
I couldn't. Yeah, it's like I couldn't eat like a spoon of it. You know.
Hmm. That is so weird. And I'm saying that's weird
Yeah.
just because my mind immediately gravitates to like other tomato based products. Like you mentioned,
Sure.
making the meatloaf with tomato
Hmm.
sauce,
Sauce. Yeah.
but really the sauce and the ketchup. What's the big you know differential there? Like what's happening?
Yeah. Don't know.
I don't know.
Like I couldn't eat ketchup
The
hot.
spices.
Like I can't eat mayonnaise hot.
Hmm.
Like I could put mayonnaise like on a in tuna or like on like a turkey sandwich. But I know people have like have a mayonnaise on a hamburger.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing mayonnaise hot.
Wow. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
It is. It is a little strange, but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yet again, you guys want to weigh in on that.
Yes,
Mustard
let
on
us know.
pretzels, condiments. There you go. Badabinshow at gmail.com. We're actually going to read.
Have you ever eaten tuna fish?
Yeah, we're going to read some comments and an email later in the program. But yeah. All
Hmm.
right. So there we go. There was some good comics talk for you all.
Yeah.
I have. Okay. So backstory time.
Sure.
I've always wanted, because I missed the boat completely on Preacher number one.
Hmm.
Now, ideally, I want a raw copy because there was
Mhm.
a time that you and I started a project where it was going to be a preacher reread, and
Yeah, to the choir.
correct to the choir, and I was okay. I get all the trades right,
Sure.
but the goal was because this is who you are, this is your
Mhm.
personality. You wanted all the nooks and crannies as far as the
Oh
advertisements,
yeah.
everything in the book.
Letters,
Exactly,
pages. Yeah.
letters, pages is a big thing for you, Mister Usenet, and everything else.
Hmm.
But still, I was like, the price tag right now on Preacher #1 is a little bit too rich for my blood.
Oh yeah.
But I've always kept an eye out. And I was
Sure.
about to pull the trigger on a raw copy. It was only like a mid grade, but at the same time, I was itching to do that.
Hmm.
I saw on eBay our enemy, our nemesis, someone was actually
Hmm.
selling a graded CGC copy for a very similar price, graded 9. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend the
Hmm.
money, let me just do that. And I did,
Sure.
and I got the item.
I mean, it's something you've read 100 times before,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
mean, the only thing
yeah.
I'm missing is the letters page and the advertisements, you
Sure.
know? And when I got it, the seller actually threw in some other preacher related items with the purchase. It's kind of like, just throw in stuff. Hey, thanks for buying this. And one of the things, or actually two of the things he threw in were some action figures.
Hmm.
And now the action figures are from the television program Preacher.
Hmm.
They're made by NECA.
Hmm.
As you can see here, I have them on display. I believe I've spoken about the show in the past because I mentioned it being a very difficult thing for me to put on those goggles where you kind of just view something for what it is and not
As an adaptation,
adaptation or
or
really rated
yeah.
against that source material. Because for me,
Sure.
Preacher, actually, I might have even talked about it on To the Choir instead. I don't know if it was here on Bada Bin or what have you, so apologies. But yeah, so for me, Preacher's so perfect. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And when they first announced the show, it was going to be on the AMC network, which is
Yeah.
famous for The Walking Dead.
Breaking Bad and
Yeah, and I was
yeah.
like, man, I don't know if they can do what they need to accomplish on a cable network. It should really be HBO or something where, the
Sure.
world's your oyster as far as fulfilling the commitment to that source
Yeah.
material and being honest to it. So when I first started watching the Preacher show, I had to put a pin in it. I had to put it on a shelf because I was so disgusted with
Hmm.
like the first half an hour of it. I'm like, this is so different already, straight out of the box, pun intended. No, this is wrong. This is sacrilege.
Sure.
Yet many months later, I was just like in the mood for something. I'm like, you know what? Let me go back, give it another try. And I did, and I separated yet again myself from the source material, which I love and cherish. And just for what it was pretty damn good.
Hmm.
And it was amazing to me that I was able to not only do that, it was like a big moment in my life, you know what I mean? As a fan, collector, what have you, nostalgia guy, all the things that you could call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. To be
Hmm.
able to
Or
do that
surely.
and say, all right, I appreciate this for what it is rather than what it came from, its
Sure.
origins. And it was fantastic. It was awesome. And there were certain nods to the comic, and of course, you're like the Leonardo DiCaprio, whose name I cannot pronounce. I mean, where you're like, I get that, yeah, like you doing that and stuff.
Hmm.
But the show had a lot of its merits, and it was fantastic. So when he threw in these, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So
Hmm.
what I was thinking about doing was because I am primarily, unless it's a statue, I try to be an inbox collector.
Hmm.
I won't go into the story on that. That's going to take up way too much time. But these are slightly damaged.
The
The
boxes.
boxes, yes. They're not in the best condition. And actually, this is not the one I was going to open. I was going to go for the creme de la creme.
Jesse.
Jesse Custer. I believe the actor's name is Dominic Moynihan. But there's actually, I don't know if you can see it on screen. There's like some residual goo on here. And
Oh, like from a price tag or
yeah,
something.
and I'm not really. Actually,
Hmm.
it's in better shape than I thought. Maybe I should just keep it closed. All right, screw you guys. No, no, no. I committed. I promised. So I wanted to display these. You know what I mean? So I
Okay.
was thinking about unboxing it here live
Mhm.
with you, Chris, and everybody
Hey.
else, and kind of like showing off the fig. What do you think? Should I keep it in the box? Should I unbox it? What should I do?
Oh, I don't know. I
You
mean,
can see the reflection of the computer screen on here. This is how Bada Bin is made. Look very close,
that's what I
people.
look like?
That's what you look like, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
You know what?
Yeah, I don't
Let's
know.
just let's
I
just
don't
do this. What does that sound like? Good
bust
stuff.
that some bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, we got a blade and
Sharp
everything.
objects, kids. Stay the hell away from them.
Don't try this at
Don't
home.
try this at home. Ooh. Sweet mother of God. Um, dad joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Smells very plasticky.
Yeah.
And
I would hope.
I know you're trying to turn over a new leaf, Chris. So talk to me as I do this. Are you, we've really gotten into some heavy duty conversations as far as not digging cinematic adaptations or television versions of
Sure.
things. Are you possibly willing to kind of give things more of a shot or a try?
I might.
Mm.
I might. You got me a little bit interested in that penguin show.
Oh
Might
yeah.
give that a shot.
Even though,
And on that same app,
yes.
you could watch 600 Pound Life. So
Is that on HBO Max? 600 Pound Life.
yeah, because I guess it's Discovery, and they're all in cahoots now.
Okay.
So
Yes.
yeah, it's in there. But when we go to the app, the first thing on the screen is Penguin.
Of
So
course.
it's a recommended
You
program.
like
So
half an hour
who knows?
programs though. You don't like these long ones. That's like an hour long show.
Yeah, I like. It's like we talked about with Roy Thomas's scripts. You
Mm.
got to be in the mood to be able to sit still for that long.
Sure.
Or I do it. Where like I could watch, 18 episodes of The Office at once. But the idea of sitting through 1 hour long show is like,
Yeah.
hard to.
Just so you guys know, these noises that you're hearing aren't the fig being opened. They're my joints.
It's ASMR.
Listen, I primarily collect McFarlane stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm having the damnedest time trying to get this NECA Jesse Custer out of the plastic here because his legs are like not just like twist tied in.
He's in
Yeah,
covenant.
exactly. They're like in a hole. So I have to like pull them out or cut the plastic maybe. By the way, I have no
Okay.
idea what these are worth. So if it's worth like $1,000, apologies to my descendants. This is getting noisy. Maybe I should mute myself or something.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This is ASMR. This is Bada Bin ASMR.
Is that what that is? Oh, hello. One hand out.
Right now, we're opening a Preacher action.
Heyo! All right, so here he is. He's free, and
He made
and to
it.
be honest with you, whether you care for the show or not, it is a pretty good representation. You would think of Jesse Custer just in general.
Sure.
Kind of show him off here to the camera. He's got a pack of smokes in his pocket.
Okay.
He has some really kick-ass
Some
boots.
tight pants.
Yeah. Hello. What are you
Mhm.
packing there, Reverend Custer? So yeah, he's got the there are butt cheeks. This is not the
There you go.
the
Anatomically correct to a point.
yeah, this is not the David Lee Roth version. And I wonder if I have a David Lee Roth audio clip on here. Let me see. Nope, that's you can't hear any of these, can you, Chris?
I cannot hear
All
anything.
right, let's see. No, all I have is Steven Tyler scatting, which the audience just had a. Oh no, here we go. Assless chap scat.
There you go.
Ooh. So anyway, Chris wasn't able to enjoy that. But here's Jesse Custer, and I can tell you right now the joints are extremely stiff.
How many points of articulation you got there? Does he bend at the elbows?
Yeah, that's what I was just
Okay.
getting at.
Oh, there
there
you
you
go.
go. Yeah, so he's got about
How about
700.
how about his shoulders? Do they?
They do limited. Let's see if he's
Okay.
preaching to the choir. I can outstretch his hands
might be.
there.
There
Oh,
he is. Friends, Romans, countrymen.
and he has some accessories in here. So I will put him down for a moment. And I'm going to put him on the shelf.
Very
He's
cool.
going to be a permanent fixture.
He'll be watching over us.
Yes, at the
Yes.
Bada Bin show, since
He'll be blessing the program.
I
every week.
opened the Bada Bin show. Let's see what. Ooh, bottles of beer. He has the coffee can, and he has a Bible. These are a pain in the ass to
There you
get
go.
out, so I'm just gonna maybe show them here.
There you go.
Can you see those?
Yeah, you
Okay.
don't want to lose them. Yeah, you don't want to lose them
Well, I
too.
have a little cup up here, like a coffee cup. Like,
Okay. Oh, with the
yeah,
extras.
I put like hands and stuff in there if I should ever open
Okay.
something. But there you
There you
go.
go.
Overall, NECA, I'm not a big collector of NECA, but I must say this is a pretty good fig. And yeah, I wasn't going to get into a big story about why I
Hmm.
don't unbox, but I will say
Hmm.
this. One of the greatest figures I've ever owned, and I still do own, is John Locke from Lost, which is a
Okay.
McFarlane figure.
Yeah.
I unboxed him. I've had him for years, but here's the problem, and it's something I cannot understand, and I haven't found a good explanation for online. So
Hmm.
yet again, it feels like I'm doing this too much, but I'm reaching out to the audience. Should you
Oh,
know, it's
there you go.
sticky now. There's a little bit of tackiness
Oh, yes, yes,
to the
yes. Okay.
plastic, and I've
Hmm.
been trying to reacquire an in-box John Locke Lost figure
Gotcha.
from the mid two. I think it was 2007 or so. I
Probably.
want one so bad, but
Hmm.
you know me, and this is what you and I do. We're cheapskates when it comes to collecting.
And those demand a lot of coin right now.
I think the cheapest one I saw with a so-so box was something like 40 to 50 bucks.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, but even then
Okay.
I was trying to talk the guy down. And he was
Sure.
doing like, "Are you kidding me? You can't find these in box anymore. Like that's
No.
ridiculous."
There you go.
So yeah, that's something I'm looking for because the tacky one will always be my first, but
Hmm.
it is very upsetting.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, I don't know why some of those doodads get all tacky like that. I have a Dragon Quest. I can probably swing over and grab them here. One sec.
Do that. I'll go full screen again and play with my Jesse Custer fig. Hey there, R
There we
Space,
go.
you piece of crap. Oh, hold on.
He's a big Nirvana
Cassidy,
fan.
yeah. I still have Cassie. I'll unbox this in my own private time.
There you go.
But yeah, I want to be hip with the kids because all the kids now, they do unboxing videos, right? Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
that's
We're
us.
hip.
We did an unboxing. We did 5 seconds of ASMR.
Yeah.
We're all over this
Dude,
place. The algorithm's gonna find us.
2004 is, I mean, 2004. 2004 ended 20 years ago.
Hmm.
2024 is almost over. And we
Hmm.
are just finally hitting every trend on
Of
of
2016.
on our way out. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, this is I got this Dragon Quest controller years
Oh, let me
ago.
put you
It
up
is a
here. Hold on
slime
one
from the
second.
games.
There you go. Now you are
There he
large and
is.
in charge.
Yeah, so it's like it's this cool little thing you can put on a shelf, but it's also a controller. So like you can actually use it to
Oh,
play
neat.
PlayStation too. But it's tacky as hell. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like I'm
Yeah,
sticking to
yeah,
it.
I can hear that.
Yeah, I don't know why it's like that. It's been on a shelf for years. Hasn't been.
But Chris, is that like a, ooh, hello?
Oh,
Yeah, that was a teacher getting everybody in class's attention.
that's
Do you,
true.
is it like a hard plastic or like a more softer, pliable?
It's got like a little bit of give to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like I'm sticking
Yeah,
to it.
no, I can definitely hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's been on a shelf for I probably got that in probably 2004,
Uh
2004 or
huh.
so, and yeah, and it's just been on a shelf, and I have to like I try to dust it, and it's like I stick to it. It's like
Yeah, that sucks.
no
Yeah,
good.
I don't display my John Locke anymore. I have him in a plastic bag.
You got to.
My
Yeah,
back closet with like all my other
sure.
discarded figs that probably come animated or alive at night via Toy
Ex-
Story, and we're
mhm.
owned by a 46-year-old man. What a pathetic loser. Well, at least he'll never go off to college like
There you
Andy. But
go.
yeah. Hey, if you guys see this, I do recommend buying it. I think it's pretty cool. I
Hmm.
think it's kind of neat. And if you like
Now
Preacher,
with
it's
the
nice to have a little bit of the your favorite word, the ephemera.
for sure. Now with you having a little bit of trouble getting that out of the
Hmm.
package, how does that compare to unboxing a McFarlane?
McFarlane, the biggest pain in the ass is a cape.
Because you sent me that Batman.
Hmm.
That was a McFarlane,
Correct.
right? That cape was a real pain.
Yeah.
Everything else came out, but then he's like stuck in there by the cape.
Yeah. No.
Which I mean, I guess that's McFarlane's thing. Going back to Spawn, the cape was a mile and a half
Yeah.
long.
You gotta like kind
Yeah.
of twist it like you're wringing out like a washcloth before you
Yeah.
pull it out of the package. Actually, you know what? Let me show off something else I got recently. Since we're on
Hit
the
it.
a plastic tip.
Sure.
Just because 1989, we all know Batmania was a big deal. McFarlane recently came out with a 1/1 replica Batman cowl. So real size, like a $100 item, 150 bucks, I forget off the top of my head.
Sure.
But they also came out with these minis.
Oh, neat.
Oh, very neat. So this is a great item that if you wanted just to have something on your desk, you know, for more Bat memorabilia. And this is the cowl from Batman '89. And I got this on pre-order. I'm in love with it. I think it's fantastic. Mostly because it's one of the few items that actually has the correct Bat insignia from the film. Most representations, even the toys way back when, would have the
bottom comes to a
correct.
point,
It doesn't
right?
have that 3-point spike.
Doesn't have the prongs.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, dude, I was tempted to buy the 1-in-1, and I'm like, okay.
Where are you going to put it?
Yes, exactly. Now, I don't know if anybody noticed, if you are a continuous viewer of the show, the wall behind me used to have a whole lot more McFarlane's on it and stuff. I took that down. So now I have even less space to put things. And actually, some of the shelves here, shelves, some of the cabinets here in this filing cabinet in the bottom have some McFarlane's in there. The ones I have on display behind me primarily are like things that you have got me, for example, or is this some that have some particular sentimental value?
For sure.
But I'm in love with that little mini cowl thing. I thought that was a great idea for McFarlane to make something like that.
Oh man, imagine like a lineup of them.
Well, they have Nightfall and Batman '66.
The Adam West.
Yes, but the problem with those is they do not have a bat insignia attached to them. Yeah, it's just a cowl.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of a cop-out.
because I guess the movie one was more armor. So
even then, they should put it in anyway to keep things like you said. Imagine you had like all three on your desk.
Oh, that'd be
You'd
neat.
want the continuity. You want the to be uniform. You know.
You want it to look like a museum. Exhibit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I like having this little teeny tiny thing up there. It's also up there with one of my favorite Funko Pops of all time. Welcome to Dave's show off hour.
Toyporium.
Yeah, where I'm just gonna randomly show things up. But you know, this was a biggie for me.
Oh yeah.
I am we've already established this at the beginning of the show, Christmas guys. So this was something I passed on because I was kind of anti-pop at the time at Walmart. And then when I started coming more around to like Pops being just a cheap alternative to having like legit
statues
and action figures and stuff, I was like, I want that because it's Christmas related Superman memorabilia.
Yeah, my brother got me that, and it came with the T-shirt.
Oh, really?
It came with the T-shirt of that Pop flying. Yeah.
Well, I definitely need a much larger T-shirt than you have. But that just happens to be up there. It's Christmas time, so I figured I'd take a moment and pull it down.
I think I have the gingerbread Superman too.
Oh yes, I have that as well.
Yeah.
I actually have it in my because they're so cheap. They're like $3. They're not worth a damn thing. Not that it really matters, but. At my desk at work, I have those. So, and I didn't get a chance to show off the box just in case people are interested.
Oh, there you go.
And that sort of thing, which is now empty because I unboxed.
Now I miss the old action figure boxes where on the back it would have like the lineup.
Well, this
like the old X-Men ones. Oh yeah,
this is it. This is all you had cooking.
Oh, it's only two. Oh, okay. There's only two. That makes sense.
So there you go.
Okay.
Even though, you know what? I'm not going to throw the box away, and my wife's going to get so pissed off at me.
Why do you have an empty box?
My son does the same thing. Like, okay, my son does not like comics, all right? We've established this. We've talked about it.
Sure.
It's okay. Life will go on. But he loves collecting figures and Funko Pops and Avatar movies, The Way of the Water, everything. He has a whole display. Dude, he's got a black light over it. He lights them.
Nice.
And I love it. I think it's fantastic. But he's also, like, he's picked up that gene for me where he's like, well, I opened it, Dad, but I got to keep the box. And my wife, she'll look under his bed and he's got, like, a stack of action figure boxes. He's like, throw these away. Sure. You guys are terrible. And we're like, no. We got to keep it. We got to keep it all intact, baby.
Oh. Yeah, like you hear those stories of like when the kids go away to college or whatever, and their parents throw out their comic collection. Right? That never happened to me, but I kept all like the backboards to my X-Men toys and the Ninja Turtle toys, the old Playmates
Yeah,
ones. I had stacks of those things. GI Joe with the little file card on them.
sure.
And my mom threw all those out. And like Super Nintendo video game boxes that are now worth like hundreds of dollars each for some of them. My mom threw those out. She's like, "Why are you keeping
Yeah.
boxes?" It's like
Well, get this.
ridiculous.
This is something that. All right, we were talking about grading. My
Mhm.
preacher. I wonder if I have it down here. Maybe I can pull it out.
Oh, neat.
Oh, yes, it is right here because I am terrible putting things in proper places. So I guess I will show this off real quick. Preacher number one. There
Numero
you go.
un.
Graded 9, which isn't very special considering there's like 3,000 graded preachers in
Okay.
the universe. But alas, this one is mine. So there you go. But
Hmm.
I wanted to talk about this a little further because video games, now that I'm buying
Hmm.
my son more of them, people grade them, they
Oh
slab
yeah.
them.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking of
Yep.
all media, of all collectibles to have slabbed.
Sure.
Isn't that pretty terrible? No, I
Ridiculous.
understand. With comics, you can say you can get a raw version to read, graded copy, whether it's for display or investment or whatever.
Hmm.
But with games, games are kind of pricey, man.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Sure. It's a big buy-in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's not like a 2.99, 3.99 book. It's a $60 to
Yeah,
game.
exactly. So you're gonna buy
And if you're
two?
going retro, you're in like triple digits just to buy them without any protect. The label might be torn off. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, must be nice to have that kind of
Yeah.
fundage.
I
But even
guess.
then,
Or it might be awful to have that sort of
yeah,
incentive.
yeah, true. I wonder how much it costs to grade a video game.
I don't know. I don't even know what it costs to
I
grade a
don't
comic.
either off the top of my head since I've
Yeah.
never done that.
No.
It's a weird line to cross because I'm okay with owning like
Hmm.
CGC books, but I would never send a book out to be graded.
Same.
You
Yeah.
know, I bought them much as I explained the whole preacher scenario where I was like, well, I can get the 6, like a fine, or the near
Sure.
mint for basically the same price. Why not just get the
Yeah.
graded one? All right.
And it's an important book to you, so it's
Right.
like that's I think when I in the old Bada bin I came across a little bit too harsh against the
Mm.
CGC stuff, but I feel like if a book has any sort of meaning to you, then that's cool.
Yeah.
Like if it's just like, oh, Spider-Man number 33 came out Wednesday. Never read it, doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I want it
Yeah,
graded.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I don't
But the
get.
graded copies I have pretty much essentially fallen in my lap.
Yeah, mine were gifted. Yeah.
The one that I sought out the most was the Swamp Thing 56 because it's my favorite comic
That's your favorite.
ever.
Yeah, single
And I
issue.
have it
Yeah.
as a display item. You know what I mean? I put it out for
Sure.
people to see.
It's important. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, sending things off, no. But yeah, video games, weird thing to grade, man. I wonder what the long term. I guess that you could say long term for any of these things. What's the outlook for?
Is money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how. But it's just I'm always amazed by the market for things, no matter what they are. I mean,
Hmm.
why else do we watch Antiques Roadshow? Albeit Antiques Roadshow has in fact something an item has been sitting in someone's house for 60
Yeah,
plus
it's hidden
years. Yeah.
treasures. Yeah.
But 60 years from now, will there be, oh, I have this copy of Mario Wonder, 10 out of 10, you know, what's it worth,
Yep.
you know?
Or Carnage USA number 3.
Exactly, there you go. Answer is nothing.
Mm-mm.
Surprise.
Nobody
Yeah,
cares.
right.
And you mentioned Batman 89 a minute ago,
Yeah.
and I sent you a message
Oh,
about this a few days ago. You know, I don't do bin diving as often as I used to,
sure.
but we were at the record store for what was it? There was a new Gwen Stefani album that came out, and the record store had signed copies of the vinyl. So
Hmm.
my wife wanted to pick one up. And while we were there, she's like, "Oh, go look at the comics." I'm like, "Eh." She's like, "Go,
Go look at the
just get out of
toys.
my
Get away from
yeah,
me. Yeah.
get out of my way. Just go look at
Yeah.
comics." And I'm going through the bin there, and we went to a few of the record stores, and it was full. Like the 50-cent bin was full of Batman '89
Yeah.
stuff, like at all the shops. it was weird because like we've talked about like what's showing up in the bins in your neck of the woods, and like I said, like Suicide Squad
Mm-hmm.
and Guardians of the Galaxy were just overflowing.
Sure.
Now it's the what Superman 77, 78.
Yes,
What
correct. It was Superman 78. Yep.
Yeah, there's Superman 78, Batman 89, and like I didn't realize there was so many damn offshoots of both of them.
How do you mean?
Like it's not just one series. Like there's like mini series.
There's two for each.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah, it's like I just saw like all these different titles. So I'm like, what's going on here? But the bins were packed with
Yeah.
them. Like, okay, so I guess Phoenix is done with these.
Yeah. Superman
Weird
78
stuff.
and its follow up, The Metal Curtain, were okay.
Okay.
That was
Hmm.
Robert Venditti writing them. And
Oh,
coincidentally,
Vendetti. I haven't heard of that guy in a while. He did Green Lantern post New
yeah,
52
and
after John's
he,
left.
I was about to lead into
Mm,
less is more is very apt to
okay.
describe his writing style. I
Okay.
found where it's decent, but you're not getting a whole lot of script out of it. And that was the case with the Superman 78 books. Batman
Okay.
89, its claim to fame was Sam Hamm, the scriptwriter, or screenwriter
Yeah.
rather, for the original Batman 89 movie. This was his
Hmm.
vision on what that universe would be had he been involved in the sequel. I
Hmm.
thought the story was boring and just like watching paint dry, while the artist I
Okay.
thought was very, very good.
Who was the artist? Do you remember?
Quinones? Jose,
Not
no,
Victor.
Jose, I believe it was. You can look it
Okay.
up. Help me not look like an idiot, Chris.
I don't know.
No, I mean, just Google it because, like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm having a senior moment every moment of the day. But yeah, I think it's Jose Quinones.
Let's see here. It is. Where are the credits on this thing?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm on the DC. Oh, Sam Hamm, talent writer. Sam
uh,
Hamm. No list for
what? This
artist.
is ridiculous. Let me.
Yeah. Wow, they don't have the artist listed. Where?
I'm probably right anyway because I'm awesome. But let me.
Let's see. I'm gonna go to the there. It's Joe Quinones.
Joe! I call them
Joe
Jose.
Quinones.
Look at that. Terrible.
Close
I
enough.
was going to call him John, and I settled on Jose. So I would have
There
been
you
wrong on
go.
either count. But anyway, his art is very, very good. It was nice. And
Hmm. Yeah, it looks nice and evocative at the time for
yeah.
sure.
But yeah, those series, I can see why they're overflowing the bins in your
Yeah,
area.
because I think there was a lot of excitement when they came out. Like people were very psyched for them,
Hmm.
and then they just kind of sat.
Well, yet again, here we are with the power of my favorite word,
Hindsight.
nostalgia. No,
Yeah,
nostalgia,
oh yeah,
where
yeah.
people
There
get
you go.
frothed up
They buy in.
wanting
Yeah,
something so bad. I mean, that little Batman 89 cowl I've got is probably a 50-cent piece of plastic, and I spent 16 bucks.
sure.
Pre ordered it, mind you. I had
There
to
you
have it
go.
immediately. I was freaking out. Could I get this in pre order? Maybe I'm not going to do it today because I've kind of gone
Mhm,
overboard on the plastic talk, and I still have a couple more things
mhm.
to add. But behind me over here, I remember we had an episode where I was like, "Hey, I pre-ordered this Jonah Hex figure.
Yes, with the
I was so
horse.
excited." That's what's sitting behind me on that shelf with the books over there. So I did
Okay.
receive it. I'm
Hmm.
also very excited today because NECA released two versions. There's a heavily articulated and a tiny, toony Jessica Fletcher from Murder She Wrote figures.
Murder She Wrote.
My little tiny, toony one shipped today. So I'm
Hmm.
super stoked because I love Murder She Wrote, so I was very excited.
Hmm.
And two other things I want to add, and then we can go on to something else. I didn't mention this. This is why I suck at unboxing and reviews, so please get used to it. If you love this show, love me for my authenticity and how
There
much
you
of a
go.
flawed human being I am. I will say a negative about this. I've just realized that since I've had to,
Does he not
he doesn't
stand?
have a little disc for a stand. Yeah,
There you go.
bummer.
Yeah, he looks a little bow-legged on the left side, so
Oh yeah, you're right. Holy, look at you
yeah,
noticing every little small detail.
perceptive,
Very much so.
if nothing else.
You hurt his feelings. And last but not least, they're doing crowdfunding now, which I find to be
What?
distasteful. Yes. I think
Okay.
it's terrible when major comic book publishers do like Kickstarters and stuff like that because you
Sure.
are a big you're part of a conglomerate, huge corporation. You want,
Yeah, you've got money behind
yes,
you,
exactly. Like for example, I know,
and we're gonna buy the stuff on the other end.
yes, I know.
Okay.
Recently, it was a Kickstarter for the Art of Michael Allred Marvel book. I'm like, just release the Mike Allred book. Like, come on, everybody likes Mike Allred, but now
Yeah.
what McFarlane is doing is these corner boxes from the late '80s. So it'll have the DC Bullet logo, a square, and at the
Hmm.
bottom is a figure. Um,
Okay.
One happens to be the Dan Jurgens Superman corner box, with him
Okay.
kind of like in a
Yeah.
stance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is awesome. That's so cool. Like, you would get me hook, line, and sinker on that.
Sure.
But it is a crowd funded
Yeah.
item. So
Hmm.
they're like, come to McFarlane.com and pledge your support. And if we get enough people to
Oh.
pledge their support, then we'll release the figures. And I'm like, you're McFarlane, man.
Yeah. You spent $1 billion on a
Yeah,
baseball,
and
dude. Come
like
on.
like as far as toy companies go,
He's a
action
biggie.
figures, he's the biggest. I mean, you could argue that
Yeah.
Hasbro, whatever, has been around forever. No, McFarlane's where it's at when it comes to
Yeah.
action figures now.
That's the hotness for sure.
So, and I
Yeah.
go gaga for a lot of these pre-orders on there. I got to have certain things and whatever. But
Hmm.
dude, don't crowdfund. Just release the damn figure. You can afford it.
Yeah.
You don't need to gauge
Yeah.
interest. Come on now.
That's weird. Yeah. I don't like
And the
that.
thing is, they had my money. It
Hmm.
was hook, line, and sinker. You come up with a
That's right up your alley.
Dan Jurgens corner bucks. The bucks will be leaving my wallet. Corner box figure. I'm
Yeah.
in. You know, I spent $80 on this freaking Jonah Hex thing.
Yeah. They came with a horse you didn't want.
Yeah, and I'll show that off in a future episode. So keep the horse talk to a minimum, please. Or I'm sending you to the glue factory. But yeah, I was very, very disappointed in that. But you know what
Yeah. It's
I'm not
disappointing.
disappointed in?
Hmm.
And that is, provided you're okay with getting into it now, is
Hmm.
feedback.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
we did
yeah.
not do this last time out because it was our first time back in
Hmm.
a bit. But the old
Hmm.
Bada
Hmm. Hmm.
Babble,
It's
because we'd
true.
always get emails from our beloved viewer and friend, Chris Yu.
Hmm.
Occasionally we get other emails scattered in from other people, which we totally appreciate.
We love. Yeah.
Yeah, we love them. But we also get comments on the videos after they post,
Sure.
even though we are recording them live. So we encourage you to drop what you're doing.
Hmm.
I don't even care if
Hmm.
you're holding a baby or a small child. Drop that child, leave
Hmm.
them,
Hmm.
go home, grab your phone. Why would you have to go home to grab your phone? What am I talking about? Just stop it. Watch
Hmm.
the show.
There you
Watch the
go.
show
There you
now.
go.
So that's where we're at. But what do you say we do a little bada babble if you don't mind, and maybe
I think
you can
so.
take the lead and read any
Yeah.
comments on the videos and the email.
Cool. Cool. Let me
Yes.
pop over to the last week's
I
video here.
apologize for my segue, by the way. That was
No,
terrible.
no. It's all good here. We got some comments. We got
Mm.
4 from our friend Chris Yu. First one was welcome back. He's on his second watch through already, which how
It's one
about
for
that?
me, one for you.
There we are.
Yes.
There we are. He remembers reading the Brave and the Bold Teen Titans issue that we talked about last week with Bruce Wayne's new son, his ward, that shows up and dies at the end
Yeah,
of the
that was a
issue.
quickie.
Yeah, he said it was a reprint miniseries in the 90s, which I vaguely remember there being a Brave and the Bold reprint series. I very vaguely
Hmm.
remember it. He also adds that he's never eaten macaroni and cheese or tuna.
Like what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's like regional, but we're all 3 of us are Northeasterners.
Yeah,
He's Pennsylvania, I believe. Um, so
that's
yeah, it's
very bizarre. Like,
yeah,
it's not even regional or anything. It's just mac and cheese is okay. Either you can look at it, is this comfort food,
sure.
uh, cultural food? You can
Hmm.
also look at
Americana,
Americana,
yeah.
just easy to eat, comes in a box, it's incredibly cheap.
Hmm.
You know, you need very few
Hmm.
ingredients.
Calorie
There you
dense,
go to
yeah.
make it. And then tuna, I can't remember my elementary school days very well, but I can almost
Hmm.
naturally assume there must have been tuna fish day at school, or you
Probably
went into a Subway and they have tuna fish sandwiches or
every
subs.
Friday, $5,
There you
right?
go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just to not have tuna, a casserole. which in many
That I
ways,
couldn't do. That I couldn't do.
well, listen, my mac and cheese could be
I
considered a
know.
souffle or a casserole, right?
It's true.
So there you go.
It's
If you
true.
want to get
My
fancy,
wife was intrigued at your recipe.
she should try it. It's delicious.
I might have to make it for
Dude,
her.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, man, like, if you're on the fence about it,
I'm not on the fence. I'm on the other side of the
I'm
fence
going
with
to tell
that.
you,
But she might be
I'm
into it.
100% like feedback on that in my life. And it was taught to me by somebody that I really wish I could see them today and thank them
Hmm.
because their
And
poverty,
what did you call it?
he called it schlop.
Schlop. There you
Schlop.
go.
I call it delicious. Um,
Now, is it a is it a regional Maine thing, or is it just a he throws stuff
I
together
don't
and
know if it was passed down in
an
his family
invention?
from his father worked at the Kraft macaroni and cheese factory.
Could be.
I don't
It's
know.
a
Um,
it's stone soup and
yeah,
schlop.
maybe the peas, for example, in that recipe. And again, peas are optional. If you
Hmm.
have not heard the recipe, I'm not going to recite it in full today. Go
Hmm.
back into our archives, watch episode number 13,
13.
and you're good to go. But maybe they were much like Martha Wayne's pearls. The peas
Oh,
just flew off the
just
neck
scat it.
into the mac
Hmm.
and cheese. But yeah, as far
Hmm.
as the source material on the mac and cheese, I don't have a lot of answers. All I know is anybody, and I've told about it, love it, and I'm even weary sometimes about telling other people
Hmm.
about it because I think they're going to capitalize it and leave me in the dust.
They might.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna open up a
Well, that's the
restaurant,
thing.
the Schlop Shack.
If you Yeah, if you share it, you share it for free. You share it for love of the game, for love of the
Hmm.
recipe.
You
You
do.
don't do it,
Hmm.
yeah, to open a restaurant or to like become the chef boyardee of mac and
You'll be
cheese.
the TikTok person.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. This
TikTok
is this
Schlop.
is for everybody. If you want to live in a
Hmm.
utopian society,
There's no gatekeeping in
nope,
Schlop.
we share, baby. That's it. Sorry about that.
Now,
Please continue.
macaroni and cheese here,
Yeah.
the box. Do you prefer the powder or
Oh,
the
powder,
powder? Definitely,
powder.
definitely powder.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, me too.
100%. I never cared for the Velveeta
No,
cheese.
that grosses me
Yeah,
out.
no.
Do you prefer Kraft or store brand?
I would definitely go craft, but
Hmm.
saying that Walmart is second up, and when you get into generics, you got to be really careful because, for
Hmm.
example, do you have any Aldi's in? Okay,
Yes.
Aldi's mac and cheese is garbage. Same
Okay.
can be said
Okay.
about the. I said I wasn't going to say the recipe, but essentially I am. The cream of chicken soup. Uh,
Okay. Well, that's got to be Campbell's, right?
well, you yet again, the Walmart version is pretty darn good.
Is okay. Okay.
I my palate is in fact garbage because I grew up so poor. But even then, like certain brands, you like it depends on what store version
You grew up with.
or you have available to you. And all these,
Yeah.
for some reason, they're
No good.
not great, not wonderful.
I like we have a Fry's, which is a Kroger
Mm-hmm.
store. And the Kroger mac and cheese, I think it knocks Kraft, out of the seat. Really, really, it's like zesty. It's really
Oh,
good. Really good
fancy
stuff.
pants over here. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's 28 cents instead of $1.50. So
guy has a
it's
Christmas tree he can just set free and let it settle in. He's
yeah.
got some.
I cut corners where
You
I
get the
can.
mac and cheese. It's zesty.
Yeah, it's
Holy
zesty.
moly!
Yeah, it's very
All
good.
right.
We got more from
Okay,
our
please.
friend Chris here. We're gonna go back to comments, and we talked about boring but good reads last week. A little bit. We touched upon it when I talked about when I talk and doved. Talked about my read through of Hawk and Dove, where it's very reminiscent of those old boring '80s DC books, but there's just something about it. And we mentioned Power of the Atom, which I want to say I don't remember who wrote it, but when I think back to all those boring '80s books, Carrie Bates's name pops into my head.
Okay.
Like I assume that they're all written by Carrie Bates or Carrie Bates, like on the Carrie Bates farm.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm gonna put this out,
Can
send
you
it.
actually refresh my
Might be
memory on the cover artist? Was that Gil Kane on
for which book?
the Sword of the Atom?
Sword of the Atom was Gil
Okay.
Kane. Power of the
All right.
Atom.
Power of the Atom.
Who? What? I was it. What the hell was his name? Let's see here.
Help me out.
Power of the Atom is Is it Paris Cullens? Maybe.
Really?
It is no Dwayne
Oh,
Turner.
okay.
You're
All
all
right.
right.
All right.
And the writer of that was Roger
Oh, there
Stern.
we go.
Power of the
Old
Atom.
reliable
Okay.
Roger.
There you
Right
go.
on.
There you go. Um, But Chris Yu says that he remembers trying to read Power of the Atom about a year ago, but he gave up because it got so boring. And he's right. He is definitely right. Um, our friend Jody wrote in as well to talk about another boring read here, which is not quite the Atom, but Captain Atom. Now, this one has got to be Carrie Bates. It's almost got to be.
Well, the artist was
Yes, it's
Pat
Carrie Bates.
Broderick on
I think
Captain
so.
Atom. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I was very
so.
impressed with him in
Um,
my youth.
yeah, because yeah, Broderick was great. But Jody writes in. He says, "Welcome back. Great to hear from everyone. I just finished a Captain Atom read through a couple months ago. That's firmly in that post-crisis. This is boring, but I like it mold, especially the '90s tail end of the run. And Captain Atom is another one, definitely in that vein. Um, Back when I discovered the cheapo bins, I found like the entire run of that for like a quarter a pop, and when you see something like that in the bins, you grab it, I guess, or I
Yeah,
did.
absolutely.
And Jody's right. It's dull, but there's a workmanship to it. It's like a journeyman book, and it's Carrie Bates who was like the master of the boring but good. I
Yeah,
think.
no, absolutely.
Yeah, he did like the Trial of the Flash. He did a lot of Flash toward the end, which was boring. Maybe good is putting it a little too kindly, but yeah, definitely Captain Atom, Power of the Atom, all those books are just they're very Hawk and Dovey, at least the Kiesel Kessel version.
Okay,
But in addition to the
sure.
comments, we did get an email from Chris Yu. Now he says, "Hello, the Bada Bin Show. Welcome back, brothers. So I'm sitting down taking lunch at work, and I opened YouTube for some lunchtime entertainment. Nothing in the algorithm's recommendation struck my fancy, so I clicked on my subscriptions, and top of the page was a familiar logo. The Bada Bin episode 13? I thought it was odd. Then I noticed that it said live, and I gasped with excitement. Seeing your two lovely faces on that screen brought a childlike joy to me. So glad to see you back. Excellent first show back. Great comics talk and recipe sharing. I'm glad you kept the legacy numbering for the show and called this episode 13 instead of volume 2, episode 1. I'm also glad you didn't start using variant thumbnails. Just one thumbnail image is enough for this comics fan. And yeah, I don't even know if we discussed doing season 2, episode 1 or volume 2, episode 1, but
Never, not
I
once.
think that would have made both of our skins
Yeah,
crawl for
when I
sure.
read that, to use your term, it could have knocked me over with a feather. I was like, it never dawned on me that we'd ever just, even though we
No.
were away for a few months, to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the only gimmick I could have thought of is to like pretend we never missed a week and been like, "Hey, it's episode
Yeah, yeah,
36,"
yeah, yeah. That was the
Yeah,
what was this? There
Quantum
we
and
go.
Woody.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Quantum and Woody from Acclaim was put on hiatus, it was gone for like 2 or 3 years, and instead of bringing it back at the next issue or a new issue one, they just pretended they never missed an issue. So it was like issue 21, and then it was like 38, and a lot, but it was set like 16 or 17 issues worth of stuff happened. So it's like, how did this happen? Why are they not friends anymore? And then it's like, oh, we'll backfill it. And then they never did because I guess Acclaim fell apart. And then they relaunched Quantum and Woody, and it was no good at all. Chris continues. The problem of comics collectors is like having to put everything away, probably seem like small potatoes to civilians, but every comic book collector knows the pain of having to move things around when you run out of room in a box. I don't miss spending an hour logging in my comics, bagging them, and then sorting them to their proper place and box. And yeah, I mean it's a to do.
Yeah.
We touched on that last week. I'm sure I mean, as comic collectors, we're going to be talking about it
Yep.
forever. But it's weird that he says that he doesn't miss that.
Well,
Um,
Chris.
he, Mhm.
Sorry to interject here,
No,
but
no, go ahead.
I think it was the first episode we ever did where I crapped
Mhm.
all over my buddy Beto because he had
Mhm.
mentioned to me that there's a setting in CLZ where you can assign what box or what location your
Okay,
comic is in. So he was doing that. You remember we talked about this? Like he
I think
wasn't putting
so.
things. He was never sorting anything. So when we
Okay.
debated, like,
Oh, that's
should you
right.
do things in alphabetical order? Should you do things by title? Should you do things whatever?
Hmm.
His thing was like, I just look in CLZ. Oh,
As he
this
gets
is in
them.
box
Yeah.
7 or this is in box 5 or whatever. So he could
Yeah.
have X-Men 262 and 1, 263 and 4,
In box
14.
14.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was disgusted by that. But now, the deeper I get and the farther I fall behind,
Yeah.
the more
There's a
there
logic to
is,
it.
and there's
There's
a
a method to that madness.
small little
Yep.
molecule of appeal to it.
Sure.
So rather than me just blindly digging, going, geez, now I'm trying to put everything together. Where the hell did I put this?
Yep.
Um,
Oh, which yeah,
so,
it's a to do.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. All right, but as you were, I just had to
Yeah. Oh,
put that out
because
there.
Chris says that he doesn't miss that, which is, I get that. I understand it, but for me,
Mm,
since for such a while now, I've like hated every single comic I bought.
mm-hmm,
The only pleasure I did get from it was logging it, bagging it, and porting it
mm-hmm.
and putting it in a box. That is what my comics fandom kind of morphed into for a bit. It was about that the routine and like the tactile sensation of sorting a comic and flipping through and getting to the title page and like jotting who wrote and who drew it into my spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
That became like part and parcel my comics collecting joy, which is
Your
sad
Rain
and
Man.
terrible.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, can
Got to
be,
get your underwear from
can be.
Kmart. Underwear from
Hmm.
Kmart.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if he probably doesn't even wear underwear anymore because there's no more Kmart.
Ah, true. Very true. Good
It's
question. There
unfortunate.
you go.
Yeah, yeah. What say you, folks? Um, but yeah, I'm glad that I'm coming back around to enjoying actual comic stuff now because that was a sad time it was like a poison band-aid on a broken
Ooh.
bone. It's like I could trick myself into thinking I was still a comic book fan because I was still buying crap and logging crap and tracking. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah.
But Chris continues.
Okay.
He says he's been watching a lot of reviews on the new Absolute DC books, and he's been on the bubble about giving them a read. I love alternate universe stories and continuities, but I'm slightly put off by new comics at this time. You may have tipped me to the side of giving them a try. It's a fresh universe with no real baggage yet, so that's a positive. From what I've seen, it seems like a second attempt to do the New 52 Earth 2 book. Both are alternate Earths that have been tainted by Darkseid with different versions of our classic characters. It feels like when a new screenwriter rewrites an existing script to improve upon it. So I'm asking you to convince me to read Absolute DC. Now, you've read more than I have.
By one
You
issue.
Oh, you haven't read Batman 2 yet?
I have not. It's going to be in this week's
Okay.
shipment.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, because I just got the email that said my shipment shipped.
Okay.
Because yeah, I guess DCBS is staggering their monthly shipments now.
What?
Used to be, yeah, it used to be like the first week of the month I'd get an email saying, "Hey, you have a package coming." Where I guess now maybe because my last name is toward the end of the alphabet, I'm pushed back to like the third week.
Okay.
So like every third week of the month I get the email saying, "Hey, package on its way."
Well, I use MCS, and I'm actually
Yeah.
perusing my account page right now, and
Oh.
it's a little bizarre because this month's order should have been billed last
Hmm.
night when the clock
Uh-huh.
struck midnight, and there's nothing showing that. And
Hmm.
same thing, it says we'll ship. This is this week's shipment, November 20th, and by now it would have given me a tracking number.
Hmm.
I don't have that either, so I'm wondering.
Did your credit card expire?
No, 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 no. I would have got an
Okay.
email saying "Pay us, fool." But I do find it very bizarre, so I'm just going to assume there's something up at their website or what have you, or maybe some
Oh,
kind of
could be.
holiday
Or somebody got sick or
hijinks. Yeah,
something.
maybe this
Yeah.
is a little weird. Because I know roughly. Okay, this is more disorganization from Dave, right? This is the guy I was showing you Jesse Custer's butt cheeks, and I was trying to
Yes.
play a sound on my soundboard of David Lee Roth scatting, and I couldn't find it because I have like 4 different buttons that say scat. But yeah, so I knew it was going to be.
We all have our fetishes.
Hello. I knew it was going to be roughly around a certain amount, but still, like with taxes and fees, I don't calculate all that stuff. And I'm
Sure.
not independently wealthy, so when I logged on
Hmm.
today, I'm like, well, how much did they get me for last night? and it's not showing up. So yeah,
Huh.
weirdness. So and
Very
anyway,
bizarre.
but to sell him on Absolute, listen, man, I'm not selling you on anything except for us,
Yeah.
this dynamic duo right here. That's what I'm
Hmm.
selling you on. But something I heard through the pipeline, thanks to social media that I don't really partake in anymore, is
Hmm.
that Scott Snyder went online to say, listen, this is not a mini, Absolute Batman. Me and Dragoda have signed on long term deals. We're going to be on this book for a long time, the foreseeable future. So,
Okay.
that being said, provided he is not full of hooey
Hmm. Hmm.
malarkey, that's a good thing, right?
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, stability in a new well, semi new property. Yeah,
there you
sure.
go. So I would think that would be appealing or attractive if you were going to hop on board the absolute Batman train. Um,
Yeah. There's a plan, it seems.
it seems, right?
Yeah.
How true that is, I can't tell you. I don't know
Sure.
anything, but I read something like that and I think good. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I also think, well, you know, we all know Snyder's strengths and weaknesses here. He
Hmm.
starts things fantastic. He's sticking that
Yeah.
landing he kind of stinks with, but so
Gets
yeah,
bumpy.
it gets a
Yeah.
little rough. So we'll see how he does with that. So there's always a little pessimism in everything I hear. Maybe that's a little bit of the Larry David in my DNA, I suppose.
Could be.
But yeah, but that's what I can tell you, Senor
Hmm.
you.
Very
Mm-hmm.
good. Very good. Now, Chris continues. He says, I think that Chris may have stumbled onto the next comic industry variant. They're going to start producing a certain amount of issues with a different amount of pages contained within the staples. They will all have the same number of pages of story, but some will have 20 pages stapled and 2 loose. Some will have 12 stapled and 10 loose. Stapled page variants are going to be the next big thing in comics collecting. And that's a reference to my all-star, no, absolute Batman
Right.
#1 having the middle page not attached by staple.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got the variant.
Well, unfortunately, this happens to be, as we mentioned last time out, a hot topic, and a
Hot
hot
book.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is a hot topic. Damn it, we're talking about it right now. But I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's people are buying them on eBay. So there
Mm-hmm.
you go.
Oh, I'm
Yours
sure.
is worth
And
nothing.
mine's worth a
There you go.
shack. I wonder. Let's do a little bit of real time here. Absolute Batman #1. Wow, comes up. All you have to do is type ABS
Okay,
on eBay. Um, so let's see
you looking up
here.
sold or just what they're going? People are asking.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to do sold if I could find it.
That would be wise.
Sold items. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Oh, okay. It's not as bad as I
What is it?
thought.
Hit us.
We got we have Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman #1, first print cover A. All three of them for $40, which is a lot, but not as much as I thought it would be.
Wow, I think that's quite exorbitant. I mean,
Well, because I'm thinking about the ridiculous Ultimate Spider-Man that came out
mm,
that people were asking like $300
oh,
for,
dying.
which is
That
stupid.
is.
We have another one sold November 20th, so sold
Mm.
today. Absolute Batman #1, $26.
See, this is
So
more than
not
I
in,
thought. I was thinking like $14, $15.
I was thinking like 80 to
Wow.
100. Yeah. Okay, $20.
Mm.
$34.
And
See
these are all
here.
cover A.
These are all cover A. I'm skipping the variants here.
Yeah.
Yeah, cover A 25 24.99. Yeah, 25.30. Yeah, so they're I guess 25 to 30
This is
dollars
nuts.
is our sweet spot,
Wow. I mean,
which is less than I thought it would be.
if I had half a clue or an inkling on making something out of my life, I'd probably sell mine
Hmm.
um,
Now, let's see here.
and just buy the trade or something. I mean, geez, Louise, that's ridiculous. I could be rich.
Spider-Man number
Mm.
one. Um, where?
You're going
Let's
to see
see
a
here.
lot of slabs on that one there, I'm sure.
You ain't kidding, my
At
friend.
least Absolute Batman still isn't back from CGC yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're selling a pre-order.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, right.
yeah, I can't find. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man #1, seventh print, $10.
Okay.
Third print, $20. Fourth print, $20. Third print, $79.
All sold.
Yeah, these are sold.
Wow.
First print, $85. Um, Jesus,
It is
ridiculous.
crazy.
First print, $300 sold yesterday.
Raw.
Pretty insane. Yes, yes, raw,
Ooh,
insane.
baby, I like it raw.
Hmm.
Man, that's
So
wild.
raw, yeah. Boy, oh boy.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, that's correct. Did we? I don't know if we talked about this on the air or not.
Mm,
A few months ago, when I got like the recommended page on eBay or an email saying like things you might be interested in,
sure.
and it was the Death of Superman trade.
Oh yes, yes. No, we did
And
talk
they
about
sent me.
that.
Did we? Okay, I didn't know if we talked about that on the air
Oh,
or
we
off the air.
did.
And
Yeah, I
it's
believe we talked about that on the Bada Bin. Yes.
okay, and I won't bore people with a recap of it. We did that real time eBay. Like, what in the hell's going
Yeah,
on
but
here?
that was going for big money, right? And you were like, "Wait, what?
hundred
What
dollars,
for a
three hundred
trade?"
dollars.
You know?
Yeah, but the first print of a $5
Yeah,
trade,
but you could get all the
ridiculous.
individual issues for dirt cheap.
You could get the actual
Yeah.
book at used bookstores for cover price or less.
Yeah.
It's
It's all
insane,
right, Chris. Don't
insane.
worry about bringing it up again because here's what I love about this, right? What we do,
Hmm. What we
what we
does?
does. It's just two dudes hanging out,
Yeah, cutting it up.
friends, just talking comics, casual.
Hmm.
So you know what?
We're just cutting it up.
Yeah, and if we just bring things up over and over and over again, it happens, man.
That's what happens in
There you go. It's
conversation.
just we're just hanging out. I was gonna say
Now speak
kvitzing. Is that the word?
Kavitson.
Kvitzing. Thank you.
We're yeah, it's a coffee
That's
clatch.
it.
Um, Now we do have some conversation to get into
Okay,
here, which
please.
is a question we both read and we didn't
Oh
like.
yes, 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 yes. Go on.
Our friend Chris Yu, our great friend, our great compadre, says, I got a question for you guys. If you had to choose to read either every Wonder Woman comic ever or every Legion of Superheroes comic ever, which method of suicide, which one would you choose and why?
Yeah. I mean, I automatically was like Wonder Woman. I would.
Because there's less of them?
No, I just think I would enjoy. Okay, okay. This is what I think about this. Legion of Superheroes,
Mhm.
right? Is the kind of book or story or just a concept is something you would love if you were 12 making comics with your friends. You'd be sitting in a
Sure.
room like, hey man, I'm gonna make this guy Lightning Lad. Oh really? I got this cool guy who can eat all this crap. He's gonna be Matter Eating Lad,
Matter Eater
or
Lad,
this is gonna be Saturn Girl, and on and
Mhm.
on. Let's just create these little characters, draw them up, and make our own comic. Oh, that'd be fun. I see a lot of appeal in that, and something that I and
Mhm.
me and my friends would have done. It would have been goofy and
Sure.
fun. But as an
Oh, yeah.
adult, and now with all that history behind it, and all the just
All those histories.
histories, and just such a
Hmm.
difficult thing to get into,
Oh, yeah.
it's just too. I'm trying to not use the D word that you've used earlier, but still, like, it's just intimidating, right?
It
It's
is.
too much. It's so
It's a big
confusing.
mountain to climb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, Wonder Woman, at least, even if you don't care for the character, I think it's just going to be easier to follow,
Okay. I
jump
could get that.
into, and go, and just kind of like take it for what it is. You know that.
Yeah, you'll be bored but not
Yeah,
frustrated.
even if you don't like the character, listen, there's going to be some great Wonder Woman stories out there. I know George
It
Perez.
almost has to
George
be.
Perez had a run on it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you like George Perez art and you think he's a talented
Hmm.
creator, there must be something to like in his Wonder Woman run. I can't speak to it.
Sure.
I've never gotten
Me either.
into it,
Yeah.
but I could see that being something that you could consume and not be tortured with. You know what I mean?
True.
So
True.
what do you got?
You know, I mentioned this in text. It's like I don't like reading comics that feature either of those
Right.
properties.
Yeah, that's the
You
point.
know, it could be an issue of Superman with the Legion in it. It's like, oh,
Oh yeah.
it could be like a JLA issue that focuses on Wonder Woman. It's like, oh, like and it's weird. I love Wonder Girl, Donna Troy. I think she's a great character. But anytime they're on the mascara or whatever the hell that island's called, It's like, we're putting Beast Boy under the purple ray. I don't care. Stop. Or like the Who is Wonder Girl story that they did around New Titans 50. Boring. So boring. When they get into like the Greek gods and the Paradise Island stuff, I just lose all interest. But after what you just said, I think I would probably go the same way because Wonder Woman would just be an easier mountain to climb. Uh,
Right.
which, not to sound filthy,
Hello.
but definitely easier to follow, less homework to
Mm-hmm.
do. Because I mean, I've tried getting into the Legion on the blog. I mean, I had a one episode show saying called "Learn Me the Legion" with Al Sedano, a longtime Legion fan, who was going to teach me the
Yeah.
ways. And it's like, there's a lot to it, you know. I mean, during Final Crisis, they did like the Legion of Three Worlds to like make everything fit.
Yeah.
And that's Jeff Johns who did it, who was able to make like Hawkman work. And even then, it was just like, this is a lot. This is a lot of stuff.
It takes a special kind of fan to like really be a Legion fan, true and
I'd say
blue. You know
so.
what I mean?
Like a chapter and verse sort of fan, for
Yeah, not
sure.
someone who's just like, of course I like Legion of Superheroes. That's a cool thing to
Yeah,
say. Yeah,
duh.
duh.
Yeah.
But to like know it and be able to recite the
Yeah.
really heavily, oh man, that backstory and everything going on there is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I like
Yeah, it's
I
like,
like John Kent, but I can't do well, okay, Bendis for one, but two, I can't get into his whole Legion of Superheroes era because
mhm.
Legion of Superheroes, you know.
Yeah.
There's a writer I am particularly fond of by the name of Josie Campbell,
Hmm.
who I think I brought her up before, yes, because she did Camp Cretaceous on Netflix, which is a Jurassic World property. I happen to be a fan of that. Me and my kid love that show.
Hmm.
But she did a Shazam mini that I thought was fantastic based on Mary Marvel.
The Mary
Uh
Marvel.
huh.
Yeah.
But she, and the reason why I am citing her right now is there was an animated movie, Supergirl, the Legion of Superheroes, that she did, and I started watching it. It
Hmm.
wasn't bad, but yet again, it had Legion in it. And I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
She also did a comic series called Amazon's Attack, a mini series, which is like Queen Nubia and the new
Hmm.
Wonder Girl and stuff like that. And it was like,
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah.
And this is like a creative that I care for, that I
They
like.
like. Yeah.
And the moment she touched those properties, I was even just like, "Ugh, let's make some
Hmm.
more weird guttural sounds because that's the best I can
Yeah.
muster, you know?
No, yeah, because I'm trying to think like I liked JMS on Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
but then he went over to DC and did Superman and Wonder Woman, and those were like some of the worst comic books I've ever read in my
Yeah.
life. Greg Rucka I enjoy, and then he did Wonder Woman. It's like, oh, yeah, just don't get it. I mean, I liked Bendis for a very long time. Seeing him on Legion, it was like, no,
Yeah. No, 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 no. Well,
no go. Jeff Johns couldn't make Legion work for me, which is weird,
yeah, that guy, everything he touches is pretty much gold,
right?
you know? But you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Because he even did like I think it was him and was Richard Donner part of that, where he did like the Legion story in Action Comics. Like I'm thinking it was like a Gary Frank cover of
Yes.
Superman flying with the Legion ring on, like he's flying towards you with the
Correct.
ring
There
on.
was. I remember there's even, even though it's an evil thing, there's a Gary Frank
Mm.
variant that I had some interest in, and it recently
Hmm.
became available on MCS, and I got the email notification. And to be honest with you, even though I need that issue, I was like,
Hmm.
Legion. No, I'm not going to buy it right now. I don't think so. So it is kind of funny you brought that up, but yeah, no.
Mm.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm looking something up for discussion later,
Hmm.
and I don't want to be
Oh, neat.
wrong because I typically am. So please, if he has any more email or any more,
Nope, that's
well,
the end
great,
of Chris's
great,
email. Yes,
just great.
but I can vamp for a little bit for
Well,
you.
it's just me scrolling here. Okay, I was right. Okay, very good.
Cool.
Well, it's
Well, we
if something
go.
I was going to bring up earlier in the show,
Mhm.
but you brought up JMS, J. Michael Straczynski,
Sure.
and I have said so many times, animated properties, right, based on DC Comics. I don't care for
Hmm.
the DC animated movies or the series
Hmm.
because of the animation style. It's so copy
Hmm.
and paste.
Oh yeah.
Now, when the Superman cartoon came out, the Batman animated series, those weren't really my cup of tea because I was already pretty much a
Hmm.
teenager by then. So it's not
Sure.
like something I'd sit and watch.
But they looked
They look
classy.
classy. They had the classic, but then
Yeah,
even then, you look at some of these more recent movies, and they all have the same kind of. They feel cheap.
they do.
The animation
They
style. I'm
feel
not.
almost AI.
I'm
Yeah.
not crazy about it at all.
Yeah.
But it just dropped on Max,
Hmm.
and Jesus, this property will never go out of print. Never stop being things made of it. But Watchmen. There's a
Okay.
new two-part Watchmen animated film, and J. Michael Straczynski wrote it, the adaptation from
Okay.
the Moore comic.
Sure.
And I watched about a half an hour last night, and they did something
Hmm.
that I am so impressed with.
Okay.
It's Dave Gibbons' art style animated.
Hmm.
And it's
Weird.
not taking
Okay.
his art and making it, like the old Marvel cartoons of the
Like the old
60s. Yeah, yeah,
slideshows.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They took Jack Kirby's art and just made the
Yeah. And they
mouth
erased
move.
the mouth and just put
No,
a.
no, no. This isn't a Lancelot Link kind of thing or anything. This is legit. They took the time, created this Watchmen universe based on his art style. And I was like,
Hmm.
damn, now they're finally getting it right.
Sure.
Now, do you need or do you care to watch something that is a panel by panel representation of an original, book that you love, you've read? Do you need to see it that way? No. Of
Mm-mm.
course, you're going to take liberties with some of the stuff when it comes to, especially animated, because it's so related, being an animated thing, to sequential art. It's not
Sure.
live action, you know what I mean? But my appreciation for them staying true to that is just over the moon.
Hmm.
Because, okay, let's say, for example, I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head here. Gotham by Gaslight. They do an animated film on that. If they don't have that Mike Mignola style art, you're losing a lot of what
Hmm.
made that special.
Sure.
He was such a key contributor. Uh,
Oh, just to the
the
tone and
tone,
vibe of it. Yeah.
exactly. So when you just completely throw that in the trash can, and there's a couple
Yeah. And
other,
turn it into the Paul Dini sort of
yeah,
gimmick.
there's a
Yeah.
couple other ones that are escaping me right now off the cuff. But I know for a fact, I was like, why would you do that without paying homage to the
Hmm.
artists that contributed? Oh, The Killing Joke. Thank you, Brian
Okay.
Bolland.
So Boland. Okay.
Right there, you go, man. Like the movie looks nothing like his.
Oh.
But dude, when you think of The Killing Joke, yes, it's an interesting story. I like the story. Alan
Hmm.
Moore is a good story. But
Yeah.
dude, if it wasn't for Brian Bolland, or
Hmm.
as you call it, Boland, as you
I don't know how to
as
say
Target instead of Target,
it.
you're missing at least 50 to 75% of
Half
what
of
made
it.
it
Yeah.
special. So
Sure.
yes, my hat off, well, halfway off to DC animation, and when they're trying to pick up the slack on what Marvel has done so well, whether it's films or animation like Into the Spider Verse, which is actually quite a feast for the eyes when you actually watch it.
Hmm.
I was very resistant to the whole Spider Verse.
I thought that looked cheap as hell, but I didn't see it.
Yes,
I just saw the
when I
bits.
first saw like the trailer, I'm like, this looks like cutscenes for a video game, man. Why would I want
Yeah,
to
it's
see?
like this is like the local technical college down the street put
No,
together a
it
Spider-Man
is it
movie.
is truly remarkable
Mm.
what they accomplished and how much they let comics influence what they did, even to like the little
Hmm.
like the half tones and different things that would show. And
Hmm.
sometimes you would look at the movie and go, "Man, this makes me feel like I am reading a comic book in 1987. Like this is
The
amazing.
Ben-Day
Yeah,
dots.
this is
Yeah.
great." So yeah, to see Watchmen, and Gibbons was like an executive producer, consultant on it,
Hmm.
and justly so. Alan Moore got zero credits because he wants zero credits. So it's like,
Adapted by the original from the original writer
well, it does say Watchmen, adapted from Watchmen, co-created by Dave Gibbons,
by
but they don't.
Gibbons. Yeah.
Which let me ask you this too.
Hmm.
You
Sure.
can respect what Moore did and what he said
Yeah.
because he got, dude, he got screwed.
He's
on
shafted.
Watchmen because his whole thing was like, when it's out of print for so long, you get it back.
He owns
And
it. Yeah.
DC's like, there is no way on God's green earth we're ever letting this go out
Mm-hmm.
of print.
Yeah.
And he said, I want nothing to do with it. Wipe my hands
Mm-hmm.
of it, whatever. So yeah, he's taking a stand, right? But you think about all the money, the revenue it's generated, that property, to
Mm-hmm.
which he also wants no part of.
Yeah.
What would you do? Like Dave Gibbons, man, is like, well, they're gonna do it anyway. Why not make a few
Alan Moore.
bucks? You know?
I feel like he's his own worst enemy in that sort of
Yeah.
situation because, like, I mean, even if you don't want the money, take it. Give it away. Do something good with it if you want. Make DC pay you for what you did. And he's the same with Marvel. Like the Miracle Man stuff.
Yeah.
He won't. It's like by the original author. It's like his name isn't on it anywhere. It's you gotta. I guess you gotta respect his
Integrity. Right.
Yeah, and stick to it.
Yes.
Because I think literally every other person in comics would have folded by now. Maybe not Ditko.
Yeah.
But he's not with us anymore.
But good God, right? How often have we complained about current creatives wanting to write something just so it could be adapted to a Netflix series or something like
Yep.
that's like, we're doing this as our ticket out of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a stepping
This
stone.
is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
We're like guys like me, you and I, if we could write a comic, we
Done
did
deal.
it.
Die happy.
We did it. This is
Yeah.
it. We've reached. This is damn.
Die happy.
So there you have Alan Moore, who's like, this was my vision, this was my art, whatever. And I mean, look, you could think of it like, yeah, all right, maybe he is overselling the whole, I guess for lack of a better term, the integrity of everything. Like, I get screwed, what have you. This was my thing. But on the other side of the coin, if they're gonna do something, they're gonna make money. Like you were mentioning, take it and give it to charity, or
do something good with it.
do something with it. I don't know.
Provide for your family or your extended family, whatever.
I think his hard stance really would appeal to me much more if I was still a younger person. You know, because I think when you're a younger human being, like a band is more important to you, and like the values
before they make it.
of that rock band that you really appreciate, and then when you get older, you kind of start going, well, money ain't half bad, you know.
Sure.
I'm willing to make a few allowances to.
There's a time and place in your life to be a starving artist, but then you got to eat.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Alan Moore is not starving, but
I'm sure he's
just fine.
Yep, and anything he doesn't have, he can magic up.
There you go.
Because he probably has an alchemy room where he can weave things into whatever money they have over where he is.
And that could be the case too, where he's like, I got enough of it. I got enough money. I don't need this evil corporation to pay me anymore. I remember there was that big deal when he was doing his was it the ABC universe, and then Wildstorm and the DC bought Wildstorm, and it was like, ruh-roh, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought because I'm old.
No, Alan Moore is an interesting cat. I remember we talked about Gemma Scasata last week. They made overtures to Alan Moore. You know, they were trying to mend every fence, and so they're like, "Hey, we want to reprint your Captain Britain stories." And he's like, "Okay." After some convincing, and I think they even like visited him. He's like, "Okay, just so long as it, you know, in the indicia it says that I own it, you know, that these are my stories." And they had the handshake deal or whatever, and then they shipped it without the indicia. And Alan Moore said, "Okay, I guess I'm done with you guys." And Joe Quesada kind of, I guess he realized he screwed the pooch on it. Because, I mean, they said it was an accident.
Yeah, that's a pretty big accident.
I mean, it's like the one thing the man asked for. I mean, we could have had Alan Moore write anything for Marvel in the early 2000s. That could have been a lot of fun. But they forgot the indicia, so they started mailing indicias to comic shops. Like they were on like print out labels. So you take it out and stick it in the front cover. And it's like, too little, too late. but he stuck to his guns. He's like, not going to
You know,
do
make
it.
a great like meme that only people in the comics world would get and appreciate. You remember how on
Hmm.
Seinfeld George's wife died by licking the envelopes?
Licking the envelopes. Yeah.
Imagine someone's licking the Alan Moore and Disha,
The Alan Moore
and they just
Disha.
freaking keel over and die. Yeah, that'd be worth $1 million. Let me tell you, that'd be great.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's a bummer, man. I
Isn't
don't
it?
know. Maybe there's gonna be like a
I'm not
day.
sure what
What's that?
I'm not even sure what I would have wanted him to write
Yeah, yeah.
from, because I mean, like the big get back then was Neil Gaiman.
Mm.
It's like, ooh, Neil Gaiman on Marvel. Oh, wow, holy cow! Then he does like that 1602, which was, ugh. And he did like Eternals, and it was like, ugh. Nah, nothing that nothing that's really remembered all that
Yeah,
fondly, except for the fact that they were written by him.
true. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a great conversation topic for another day.
Hmm,
Would be like if you could
sure.
get or some legendary characters, legendary
Hmm.
talent rather,
Creators, yeah.
creators. What characters would you put them on ideally? Like if we could create like this
Hmm.
superstar lineup, what
Yeah,
if? Yeah, what if Alan Moore did work for Marvel? What title would you want him to write? What would be the best
yeah.
fit for him? You
Hmm.
know,
Yes, I mean, there were like the easy answers, like maybe a Doctor Strange.
you think so?
I mean, that his whole thing with because he did like the Promethea, which was kind of a culty.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him doing a lot of good stuff with. I mean, Doctor Strange bores the hell out of me, but I could see him on it.
Yeah.
Then again, I mean, Captain Britain bored the hell out of me until I read his take on it.
I have not read it.
You know,
Do you enjoyed it?
it was great. It was great. Yeah, it actually it was. Comics evoking actual emotions like fear never happen really. But there was a character in his Captain Britain that you're actually kind of scared of when you see him on panel. It's like, oh God, this character can do some damage, and you worried about the other characters in the book. It's very bizarre.
Well, that's good. I mean, we talked
Yeah,
last time out about why and how I was emotionally
sure, you were affected.
ruined
Yeah.
over an issue of Why the Last Man. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
few and far between
Yeah.
as far as finding these books that can really evoke those kinds of feelings. But to have
Or finding any piece of
yeah
media.
having a villain
Yeah.
though that can like really terrify the living crap out of you like that's
Oh yeah.
pretty impressive. You
Yeah.
know.
There was a character called the Fury, and back around the first trial of Magneto,
Mm-hmm.
Uncanny X-Men 200 or so. I think it was 200, maybe it was 150. No, it was somewhere around there. It was one of those round numbers. Chris Claremont wanted to bring the Fury in, and there were even hang-ups back then about the rights to those stories, so they couldn't do
Yeah.
it. Like they brought in like Mad Jim Jaspers, who like brought the Fury from wherever the Fury came from. It's been forever since I read it, but Mad Jim Jasper shows up in like one panel in a scene, and it's like then he just goes away. It's never mentioned again because I guess they realized they couldn't do it legally. I guess, or there was some sort of a sticking point where they could not use those characters, which I guess lends credence to the fact that Moore had a measure of ownership. Maybe not of the characters themselves, but the stories they came from. I don't know.
True that. True that. All right. Well, I didn't say this after the email segment, but alas, we have it
Yeah,
postered
there you
all over
go.
the screen. You want to say something, that's where you do it. Badabinshow at gmail.com. Plug, plug, plug
Very,
away.
very good. I like it a
I do
lot.
have one last thing to say about
Hit it.
movies.
Okay.
I recently watched Deadpool and Wolverine because it is streaming on Disney.
Okay.
I enjoy the Deadpool movies. I
Hmm.
think they're pretty funny, very entertaining. Now, Deadpool Wolverine, my son is 12, and
Hmm. Target audience.
well, no.
No.
You see, he really wants to see this film, and I was like, dude,
Oh, it's rated R, ain't it?
oh, you better believe it is.
Okay, it's not like okay, yeah,
You
okay.
bet your last biscuit it is. And man,
Mm,
I was like, well, I'll screen it first,
sure.
and we'll see where we're at. And I was watching it one morning. My wife was still home, and she's like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is the new movie Chris wants to see." And she was like, "No, no, no, no." And I you know, I try to be cool, Dad, and I was even like, maybe I can kind of fast forward through a few scenes.
Sure.
Dude, they will never be able to put an edit of this on like a major network. You know what I mean? Like,
TBS,
dude,
yeah.
forget about it. Forget about it. So he is always just like, come on, Dad, Ma will never know, all right? Let's watch Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, dude, in good conscience, as your father, I like to be the
Sure.
cool guy.
Not even getting away from
Yeah,
anything.
I
Yeah.
just can't let you watch it. I think it was an excellent movie. I thought it was awesome. I
Mhm.
really had a good time with it. But I know. I was thinking, like, he's going to be like 35 years old. He'll be calling my wife, Ma, can I watch that movie now? No. No, 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 no. So, yeah, that's. We live in a glorious age. Not only are we over inundated with adaptations and movie properties of
Mhm.
comics and stuff like that, but man, this is as close to being like X-rated, in a way than you can get.
Oh
I mean, there's
wow.
no sex in it, but I mean,
Sure.
like, it's dirty, it's filthy. Conversation-wise, had it been
Hmm.
released in 1992, I'm sure it would have been
NC-17.
NC-17. Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, no go. But if you are over the age of 18, you do like Marvel movies or just comic book related stuff, or maybe you're on the fence about it, you'll have some good
Hmm.
laughs at Deadpool Wolverine. And there are a lot of Easter eggs they threw in there, little nods for the diehards and even for the
Hmm.
casual comic fan. Because something I tried to explain to my son was Deadpool wasn't always the merc with a mouth character. Like,
Hmm.
his introduction, he's basically just an assassin. I can
Yeah.
only recall him becoming the character that they associate with like the Ryan Reynolds version with Joe Kelly's run.
Joe Kelly. Yeah, I mean the Liefeld version was kind of quippy,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing like the Kelly
Yeah,
version.
no. And Kelly is
Yeah.
known for comedy, right? He either hits it
Sure.
or he don't, but he always tries.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was trying to.
No, that Kelly run's wonderful.
Oh, that was in Ed McGuinness.
Oh, forget about it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, great,
Dream team.
great stuff. Um,
Hmm.
Absolutely. So I was trying to explain it to my kid. He doesn't care.
And it's sold like garbage.
Did it though? I don't recall any of
Yeah.
that. I was buying it. I loved it.
Mhm. So did I, but I remember that came out around the time of there was an X-Men anniversary.
Mm.
What the hell was it? It might have been like the 35th anniversary of Giant Size or something. And like the corner boxes had like Professor X with his hands like this,
Yes, I do
and like a
recall that.
circle
Yep.
around it. It's like happy anniversary or whatever the hell it was. And the Deadpool ones had Professor like X like this, and it said "must raise sales"
Ah,
around it. Yeah, it was always on the bubble.
yeah.
It was like Deadpool and Black Panther were always on the bubble back then.
I remember when it turned into the series turned into Agent X.
Yep,
Gail
the Gail
Simone
Simone and
Udon. I
Udon.
was buying it then. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
me too. Yeah.
That series was pretty. And then it seems like after that, and it was before the movie even.
Hmm.
Deadpool became a parody of itself. I suppose it's.
Yeah, because they did that Daniel Way volume.
Okay.
And Daniel Way was one of those writers, kind of like a Cullen Bunn, who like Marvel just gave every book
Yeah.
to. It's like they had a meeting. It's like, oh, we got this guy. Let's give him
Yeah.
everything.
Let's run him into the ground. Let him do it.
And none of them were very good. Yeah, I remember they launched that volume out of Secret Invasion too, which didn't help matters
Oh.
either. But yeah, it was middling.
And actually, you might be interested in this little factoid. Is one of the
Hmm.
writers of Deadpool Wolverine is a writer that you are
Hmm.
familiar with, Mr. Zeb Wells.
Zeb Wells, love Zeb
Yeah, so
Wells.
Zeb Wells has his
Yeah,
fingerprints in the film as well.
I think he also did the Marvels, which
Did
I
he?
haven't heard anything. Yeah, I think so. I haven't heard anything good
That
about that though.
sucked.
Yeah,
It's like as far as Marvel movies go, Eternals was just god awful.
nobody cares about the Eternals, and they
It
never
was
will.
terrible. I know. That's
Yeah.
it's like I know this again. All this talk isn't necessarily your cup of tea,
Hmm.
but
Sure.
when they announced they're going to do an Ant-Man movie, I was like, wait,
Hmm.
what? Who cares about Ant-Man? Why would you do it? But it was
Hmm.
successful. They
Hmm.
did it right. It was funny. It was humorous. It was great. The
Sure.
casting was fantastic. Whatever. But you're right. With Eternals, that was really stretching it. It's like not
Yeah.
only are we going to take a comic property that nobody gives a damn about, we're
Yep.
going to try to make it relevant in our universe, in our continuity, It flopped. It failed. It was a terrible film. Boom. The Marvels, equally as bad. It was just a crap movie.
Yeah.
It just wasn't
Like
entertaining.
Shang-Chi
Shang-Chi
and
wasn't
yeah,
half
there was
bad.
okay.
Had the Abomination in it too.
Huh, how
Yeah, who
about
later
that?
appeared in the not so great She-Hulk series.
Mm.
So Marvel's had quite a few misses recently. It hasn't all been. They were like golden for a long time.
I was gonna say they're not Rumpelstiltskin
No,
anymore.
they were. They everything they touched was turned into gold, and now it's like, well, you
Yeah.
missed a few there, guys.
Hmm.
Surprise! And now we have DC, the DC Studios with James Gunn, who had the
Hmm.
Peacemaker show, which I thought was fantastic. Even though John
Hmm.
Cena is whatever. He's another one of those same guy in every friggin' movie. Doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't seem to have a lot of
He does
range.
not,
Yeah.
but he's perfect for
Yeah.
this character.
For
For
this role.
their version of Peacemaker.
Hmm.
Same thing with Vigilante. Their version of Vigilante is great.
Who's Vigilante?
The actor I don't remember, Adrian
What?
something.
Which is it? The Adrian version of
It is,
Vigilante? The Marv
but
Wolfman, the one who killed
here's
himself?
what they did.
Spoiler alert.
They made for you for the comic fan yes, but for the the TV viewership they basically he's like a Deadpool. He's comedic relief on a
Oh,
comedy show. But honestly,
okay.
it was excellent. Like it really was very,
Hmm.
very good. But James Gunn now is the head of DC Studios, and they have the Superman film coming out in 2025. So
That the Kingdom Come one,
the logo, yes, which is very
but not
inspired.
that's not the
No,
story. Okay.
no, but it does. It's very weird how some of the characters included that have been publicized. For
Hmm.
example, Metamorpho, uh,
Okay.
Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner is going to be in the film. For how
Okay.
long? I don't know. Crypto is going to be in the film, and you worry. You go, Jesus. On the surface, this sounds terrible. But
Hmm.
James Gunn, if you've ever seen any of his comic book
Hmm.
movies, they're actually done very, very well.
Hmm.
So the future looks bright over there at DC as far as that division.
So I was going to say that would almost be on brand for DC to launch with a Kingdom Come movie because it'd be like, what in the
Mm.
hell is this?
No, it's not a Kingdom Come movie. It's just
Okay.
it's like the suit is very New 52 inspired, and the chest is
The chess
the chest piece
pieces.
is very Kingdom Come esque,
Hmm.
almost to a
Have
T.
you read Kingdom Come recently?
I last time I read it was probably 6 months ago or so, give or take.
Okay. Yeah, it might be a fun one to talk
Oh yeah,
about
sure.
eventually, somewhere down the
It's a
line.
very
But
very good story. Um, Yet again, here I am with the 50-50. Mark Wade. Mark Wade, man, who I think on this very program have said I have much respect for
for
his
sure.
contributions to comics and stuff. There's also some stuff not to like about the guy.
Hmm.
But his World's Finest run, here we go. Like, I love that it's an ongoing, it keeps on trucking. I'm buying
Sure.
it right now out of loyalty because story wise, it hasn't been very good. Dan Mora has left the book.
Is gone. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, but Mark Wade, man, he's true blue. No matter what you can say about the guy.
Hmm.
But Kingdom Come, yeah, that's something. Yeah, if you'd like to, we can discuss more in the future on this program. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people would like us to discuss it in our Bada Bin style or Bada Bin
In our
manner.
irreverent way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And maybe they can kind of read. That'd be a good thing to announce. We're going to talk about it next week. Read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Homework.
yeah,
Hmm.
we're giving homework. Yeah. So what about you, man? You got anything else you want to talk about on the show today? Because we have been going for a typical Bada Bin length. Speaking of
No.
our Bada Bin
Yeah.
fashion.
I came into this one flying a little
Mm.
blind, so I think we covered a lot of good ground.
I know. I think it was like an hour and a half in. I'm like, I don't know what the hell else I've got. What can we fill the show with? We got to go at least 2 hours, and then here we are,
Hmm.
2.5 hours almost in, and I'm like, I could just keep going with verbal diarrhea. I'm just
Hmm.
sipping my coffee, vaping my vape,
It
just
happens.
talking about movies and random crap that we had no intention on talking about today. There was no
Yeah.
agenda.
No triptych, no roadmap, no
But
nothing.
here we are, baby. Here we are.
Mm-hmm. Hitting
Well,
and
what are you
getting.
going to be doing for the rest of your day? How about we end the show with that? Let's talk about our lives.
Our lives.
Mm.
I don't know.
Okay. Wonderful.
I might be going to a comic store on Friday.
Yes, we've this has been
That's about
discussed.
it.
Yes,
That's my
but
big
the rest
thing.
of the day, nothing cooking.
Not
All
yet.
right.
No, not that I
Well,
know
you
of.
some you didn't mention last time out. You do have a little side gig now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been having a lot of fun door
Mm.
dashing. Yeah. I don't. I know for my birthday a few years ago, I got like a gift card to
Mm-hmm.
DoorDash, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have a PayPal. I mean, I don't know any of this
Okay.
stuff. So like, oh, okay, let's order something.
Mm-hmm.
And like the wife wanted Panda Express, I think it was, or Chipotle, something like that. And like the food was like 15, 20 bucks. But at the end of the transaction, it was like 70 or so, 60 or so. It's like insane. I don't know how people do it, but I'm glad they do because I'm having fun delivering their food. And I thought it would be a fun gimmick to do like a dashing for comics thing. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna spend, a half hour delivering
Yeah.
stuff and then I'll spend that money in the bin.
Yep. Here are your chicken
Yeah.
McNuggets, sir. For I am
There
off
you
to
go.
dig in the bins, looking for some
Hmm.
rare finds. You know, DoorDash itself sounds more like Ding Dong Ditch or something. When you're like, I'm door dashing, I'm ringing the
Yep,
bell,
just
leaving flaming poop on
yep.
the
There
step.
you go. Leave the
There you
bag.
go. I'm out of here. And it's, I mentioned to you off air, I think it'd be a job I'd hate. Yet you mentioned that you don't really interact with many folks.
No, nope. Nobody wants to see
Yeah.
you. Since COVID, nobody wants to see you. It's great.
Just,
Yeah, because I mean, I've mentioned before that I used to do windshield repair
mm-hmm.
mobily. And so I'd be in the car and had a great time in the car, listening to podcasts, listening to music, whatever. And then you get there and it's like, crap, I gotta fix a windshield. And I gotta stand in the blistering hot sun for 45 minutes fixing a windshield. Now I know it's just driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll run into a restaurant, grab a bag, go to somebody's house, drop it off, take a picture of it, and I'm done. Yeah, it's just a neat little way to get. Because I mean,
Mm.
we talked about some of my mental maladies last week, but I have this weird sort of agoraphobia.
Yeah.
Yeah, being outside. So this is getting me to be outside.
Yeah. Eating
Yeah, so
eating someone else's
yeah.
fries. Wonderful.
No, everything's sealed. Everything's
Yeah.
sealed, thankfully, because that's what I was always afraid of. It's like, oh crap, the bag's gonna be just wide open, and people are gonna think I
Yeah.
mess with their food. But no, they're closed, they're secure. Yeah, I'd recommend if anybody out there has DoorDash in their area, because it's not everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's in every major city and suburb. But yeah, if you want to like make $30 in an hour, do it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Charging someone
Yeah,
$90 for Olive Garden.
for six
Yeah,
piece.
yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. Right,
yeah.
right, exactly. For their CGC chicken
Slab six
tenders.
piece
Yeah,
nugget. Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah,
for their bagged and boarded Sprite.
yeah.
Yeah,
See, I'd be a little concerned about that too. Yeah, man, because if it wasn't like sealed, because imagine someone had, I don't know, ferrets or a freaking rabbit living in their back
sure,
seat, and it's like, there's
of course,
freaking cat hair in my linguine.
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
cool with that,
exactly.
man. You know?
Nah, it's like I went on like all those little side gig places. I'm trying to make myself a better
Yeah.
person, and but we still want to have flexibility. So it's like working out of the house like is a commitment. You know it, I know it, but it's like I want to help provide and do a little part,
Yeah.
at least cover my own shit.
Yeah.
But we still want to travel. We're going to be going to Hawaii in January.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, mid-January we're
son of a
going.
biscuit. That's my one place I'm dying to go. Two things real quick. At
Hmm.
2:27 in this episode, I want you to rewatch it when we're done with this live stream because I moved the chair. It rubbed
Okay.
against us and it totally made a fart noise. So people are
Oh,
gonna think I was just sitting over here farting, but it was that. Two,
just you.
Hawaii. I've always wanted to go there. My mother went there
Mhm.
quite frequently because she traveled a lot when the kids were out of the house. Done
Sure,
cutting up
sure.
comics and punching each other in the face. And she met this woman on the side of the road in a van who was
Mhm.
selling weed named Rosie.
Okay.
So
All
she
right.
goes in the van. She smokes a little, tokes up a little bit with Rosie,
Mhm.
and has a good time. Great memories are made. A little Maui Wowie doesn't hurt. Anyway, Later on, she's at home. A couple months after vacation's over, she turns on America's Most Wanted or whatever it was, and there is
Oh
Rosie on
no!
there, on the lam for murdering her husband. My mom's like,
Damn.
I wouldn't even call and let him know that she was in Hawaii or wherever she was because she was a nice lady and she smoked me up.
Damn.
By the way,
Wild.
it's bad kids. I don't think we appeal to children. I don't think any kid would have a patience or the patience enough to watch this for 2.5 hours.
We're in our Deadpool and Wolverine
Oh
phase right
yes,
now.
exactly. But yeah, crack is whack.
Parents'
There
permission.
you go, guys. Don't do drugs. My mom was already well into her middle age by then.
She
Yeah,
earned
but
it.
still, if you see any vans on the side of the road come January, you know what to do, Chris. Hop in, toke up, and just ignore the fact that they have a snake tattoo on their neck.
They might have, yeah, they might have killed and they may kill
Well,
again. I don't
I
know.
mentioned John Locke earlier. Lost was filmed in Hawaii. Hawaii is just absolutely
That-
stunning.
Yeah, like I guess the hatch is there.
Yeah.
So we were
Oh,
gonna
you
try to find
son
that.
of... yeah. I love Magnum PI, one of my favorite shows. That was largely filmed
was
there
there.
in Hawaii. So,
Sure.
yeah, man, I am
Yeah,
envious.
Jurassic Park is
Oh,
there, I
yes, indeed.
think.
Very
Yeah.
envious. Very nice.
And the Dole Pineapple
Could
place is
give a
there.
rat's ass about the pineapple place. But, yeah, man, everything else.
I just don't know if there are any comic book stores out there. We'll have to
Yeah,
find
totally.
out.
That'd be
Sure, there's got
that'd
to
be
be.
nice. You can do a vlog. We can play the vlog
Yeah,
on
a
here.
little dig.
That'd
Yeah.
be very good. I would like that very much. And
Yeah.
I hope you have the proper attire for such a trip.
I don't.
Well, I just said Magnum PI.
I'm gonna have
Watch
to-
a few
I'm gonna have to go
episodes. Yep.
shopping.
Get some nut huggers like Thomas Magnum wore. Some Hawaiian shirts. Let out that moss that you have.
Get rid of the beard, leave the mustache.
There you go, man. I think there's a plan. A plan B a brewing. All right, very good. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad we stuck around just to shoot the breeze for an additional
too.
10, 15 minutes. Now I know all this. You never texted it to me. I No,
didn't?
you didn't tell me you were going to
Oh.
Hawaii. I would have been freaking pissed off. I already am.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
There you go. Well, it's cheapest to do it in January.
Is it?
Yeah, it's cheapest and it'll be the least crowded there.
January, you say, huh? But now the secret's out, much like my mac and cheese recipe.
Yeah, the 500 people who are watching this are gonna all hop on.
Those 500 people
For-
in Paraguay or whatever.
At first, they're gonna go to Winco to buy fruitcake stuff. And
Yeah.
then they're gonna go to Hawaii.
There we go. Inside jokes. We're full of them. Speaking of which, I heard you had a very interesting chili dog story. We're not going to get into that today, though, unfortunately. But
I don't
alas,
think we're up against. The
there
clock
we go.
here,
We
folks.
got to hit the
Sorry.
road because I do have to make my son something to eat well in advance before he returns home from school. Mostly
There you go.
likely ramen because I'm lazy. But yeah,
I might have some ramen in a little while too. I haven't had ramen in a long time.
my little dog Phoebe has kept me company this entire time. I would like to show her off to the camera, but she's sleeping all nestled up in a ball.
She's comfy.
Yeah. So with that, I think it's time we say bye-bye.
I think
Audio.
so.
So why don't you say bye first? Because I always feel like I cut you off at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, so why don't you say what you have to say to our loving audience before we go, and then I will say my piece.
Let's see if I can get back into the old podcast here. Talk to you again real soon.
Ah!
See ya.
Very in-depth, very comprehensive, very nice. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to tune in today. We appreciate it. Virtual hugs all around, big squeezes. This has been a blast. I always like talking comics and just life in general, which seemed like dominated the
For sure.
episode this time around.
Yeah,
My buddy Chris.
ain't nothing wrong
And then
with that.
hopefully next week we'll talk about this more off air. We might have a little Thanksgiving.
I was gonna say if we don't get back before Thanksgiving, we hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving
I'm
day.
free next Friday. Just saying, we could have a little.
But that's after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so we wish everybody a happy.
You do. I don't. I don't wish you guys
Okay,
nothing.
I
I already
do.
gave you guys virtual hugs. That's enough. That's enough for me.
It's true. It's true. You get one or the other.
But let's plan on a little comics cornucopia for next Friday,
like it.
right?
A real
Here
harvest.
we go.
Yeah.
All right. So we said our piece. We're out. See you next time. Don't do anything crazy. Watch out for weird vans with people smoking ganja.
Don't take wooden nickels.
Peace.